water access.
However, the areas that remain stubborn and extremely difficult to resolve the water challenges are part of Westdean, Coronationville, Sophia Town, Melville, Emarentia, and some sections of Dorongo.
Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says active steps have already been taken against officials who've been singled out in a visa corruption probe by the Special Investigating Unit. The anti-corruption agency revealed yesterday that one official even built a road to her house from the bribes paid to her by foreign nationals to illegally facilitate their stay in South Africa. Schreiber says, contrary to what would be expected, the number of officials involved in the scam is relatively small. Lindsay Dentlinker has more.
The Special Investigating Unit says the permit and visa racket it's uncovered within the Department of Home Affairs has cost the state around 185 million rand. 4 officials used the bank accounts of their spouses to extract bribes of around 16 million rand over a 10-year period from 2014. Minister Leon Schreiber says once all visa applications go through a new electronic system, which is already operational for tourist visas, it will limit corruption through human interaction.
Perhaps the single most extraordinary and important finding of the SIU's work, at least for me, is that the bulk of the malfeasance that we see presented here was allegedly committed by a very small handful of officials.
Schreiber says disciplinary processes against the implicated officials are ongoing. The department has also uncovered 2,000 fraudulent study visas issued by these syndicates, which are in the process of being cancelled. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Bellarmine Mugabe, the youngest son of late Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, will spend a week behind bars before he can apply for bail in his ongoing attempted murder case. Mugabe appeared alongside his co-accused Tobias Mugabe Matonze in the Alexandra Magistrates Court yesterday. The pair is accused of attempted murder in relation to an employee who was shot at the Mugabe residence in Hyde Park last Thursday. Oren Singh reports.
It was a brief appearance for the son of the late Robert Mugabe in the Alexandra Magistrates Court yesterday. The appearance of Bellarmine Mugabe and Tobias Mugabe Matonze was delayed by at least an hour after they were taken to the wrong court. Their attorney, Sinene Mguni.
Seems that there was a degree of confusion with regards to where they were meant to be, but that emanated from the police station where they were being held. It seems that they were sent to the Randburg Magistrates Court instead of the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
According to the incomplete charge sheet, the pair are facing at least 7 charges related to attempted murder, contravening the Immigration Act, and possession of a firearm and ammunition. They will remain in custody until their bail application next Tuesday. Police haven't yet recovered the firearm that was used to shoot the employee last week. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
And Ukraine is today marking the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion with a show of solidarity from its allies and no immediate end in sight to Europe's biggest conflict since World War II. Tens of thousands of lives have been lost since the Kremlin ordered troops into Ukraine on this day in 2022. The worldwide fallout of the war has been immense, with many European countries increasing their own defense spending in anticipation of a possible confrontation of their own with Russia. And at least 17 South Africans who say they were lured to Russia under false promises and then forced to fight in the conflict have detailed harrowing stories of alleged ill treatment, including racism, by Russian forces. The group claims to have been recruited under false pretenses, and much of the blame is being put at the door of former MP Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma. Speaking on behalf of families, Tulani Mahlangu told the Clement Mayatela show on 702 yesterday that all of the men are en route to South Africa.
Is that the information you got from our government, the presidency, DERCO?
The information we got it from DERCO. Today they are just preparing for the boarding things so that they can be able to board the flight tonight.
Gold is trading at $5,182.82 an ounce. The rand 16.02 to the dollar, 21.61 to the pound, 18.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.14 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes along the N3 North. This is between the Geldenhuys interchange and Van Buren Road. 3 major accident scenes happened along this route. All lanes are affected, and that's the reason for that long backup coming out of the Geldenhuys turn off. There's also queuing traffic reported on the Mark 1 North. Another accident seen there right near Jansmans Avenue, causing delays from Empire Road, about a 15-minute hold up there. And do remember that wet weather conditions this morning, and that's the reason for the heavier traffic volumes.
And in your sport, Manchester United beat Everton 1-0 with a Sesko goal to go top 4 in the Premier League. In the Nedbank Cup quarter-final, Arrows against Durban City is the only all-premiership clash. And at the T20 Cricket World Cup, unbeaten West Indies smashed a record 254 in their easy win over Zimbabwe.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers. Johannesburg is at a low of 16 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria, 17 and 24. Vereniging, 15 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi has again apologized for water supply problems in the province.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Get your brain in the game and win big on the Brain of 702. Enter now on PrimeMediaPlus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 6 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast. It's Tuesday, the 24th of February, the year of our Lord, 2026. I nearly said 2025. I was in a conversation with a group of friends the other day, and we were talking about something that happened last year. And I said, what do you mean? It was just a few months ago. What do you mean last year? Ish. And then the reality hit me. Welcome to the show. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa, and of course, I'm with my colleagues. Amoramila, very good morning to you.
Very good morning, Bongs. Morning, 702 Landers.
Along with Muteo Khwaripe. Good morning to you, young man.
It's a Bongs. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Sleep is a thing. I tried a concoction that I saw. Don't judge me. I saw it on TikTok, but it actually worked. I didn't hear my alarm this morning. Take a warm cup of milk.
Okay.
Add turmeric and pepper and nutmeg and cinnamon. Whing. You're gone. Gone. I woke up 45 minutes after my alarm would have rung.
I think I'll try that on a Friday night.
Don't know if it works after you've consumed other drinks.
No. I won't consume those other drinks.
Here's a question for you, both of you. Is there a childhood belief you held on to late into adulthood? So we're not talking Father Christmas, right? Or silly things like that. Or the Easter Bunny. Or the dancing Christmas lights at Christmas. You held on to this belief late into adulthood and found out it wasn't true.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Amoramila?
Good morning once more. Well, I held on to the belief, actually late into my adulthood, that sugar makes children
Hyperactive.
Hyperactive.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
There are many parents who believe it, and researchers have looked into this, and they're saying, nah.
I mean, consuming lots of sugar for kids on its own, even for adults, is not good, right?
Yeah.
But that which it makes kids hyper.
They say kids do not act any differently after consuming sugar versus, say, a placebo. So if you give kids, and it's meant to be sugary, the placebo, they'll still be hyper. Munteo, you sound like, I'm not convinced.
No, I'm just from my own experience.
You're not giving your kids
no.
After 7.
I'm not running that experiment. Thank you.
Yeah, what else?
2 things for me. I think they might get a bashing for this one. The Disney fairy tale Happily Ever After. Life happens. Things don't always end well. So I held that belief until I was an adult. The second one.
What do you mean?
Happily Ever After?
Yes. No?
As an adult, you haven't realized that things don't always turn
I
out.
just haven't been lucky. But you're in a happily ever after.
Yes, I am, boss.
Be very careful now. Be very careful now. Here's what they say, Amo, by the way. There's a thing called the birthday party effect. So sugary treats are often served at events that are naturally high energy. So birthday parties or holidays. So it's more likely that the excitement and sensory overstimulation is from the day itself.
Yeah, and not
right?
necessarily from the food we
because
consume.
you wouldn't ordinarily just after supper say to kids, hey, here's some sugar.
Yeah.
And then you see that they're hyperactive. Usually when they have sugar, it's because there's a lot of excitement. It's Christmas time. And so you associate their hyperactivity with the sugar, but it's actually the event, the day that allows them sugar in the first place, because hopefully they're not getting sugar every day. I was 2 years old when I discovered that the Chappies paper lied to me.
Okay, explain this.
I had a whole fight with one of the producers, and we'll explain about it in a moment. But nylon, the Chappies paper told me all those years ago that nylon is called nylon because it was invented in New York and London at the same time.
Are you sure it was the Chappies paper? Did you
It
know?
was good. Did you know? I know it very clearly.
Yati, nylon.
Nylon. Did you know that nylon is called nylon because it was invented in New York, hence the NY,
Yeah.
and London, the LON, at the same time? Apparently not. I'm crushed because I always held the things that were in the Chappies paper to be true.
And most of them were. I've never seen the one you're talking about.
Please, someone send us a voice note. 07. I'm not crazy. 072 702 1702. I want to know from you, what is that commonly held belief or truth you accepted very early on in childhood and only later in adulthood you found out to be untrue? And if anybody remembers the nylon example in the Chappies paper, please put me out of my misery, because my colleagues are beginning to doubt my very sanity.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Our interviews today, our show starts with Home Affairs. I don't know if you saw the Special Investigating Unit revealing just incredible investigations and irregularities at Home Affairs. They've uncovered widespread fraud, revealing that many foreign nationals, particularly those using churches as a gateway to South Africa, money exchanging hands, officials living significantly beyond their means. I want you to listen, in fact, to the acting head of the Special Investigating Unit. This is Leonard Ligoto, briefing the public on the findings of the SIU's investigation into the Department of Home Affairs. We start the show, of course, with the Minister of Home Affairs, Leon Schreiber, who's going to respond to this.
When coming to officials selling citizenship for fraud, the nefarious syndicate is a coordinated group of department officials responsible for unlawful processing and adjudication and receipt of visa application. However, they have engaged in behavior suggesting systemic corruption and illicit enrichment in violation of the official duties. The SIU can reveal that so far we have uncovered that 4 officials who earn less than 25,000 a month have received a total of 16.3 million in direct deposit. Evidence indicates that certain members of this group have acquired significant assets that are grossly disproportionate to their legal income.
25,000 Rand a month you earn, and these officials have received deposits of up to 16 million Rand from their nefarious activities. I mean, it's a really, really shocking story. The lavish palatial homes many of them were living in, says the SIU. They found, for example, that unauthorized access to Home Affairs was being facilitated, allowing, for example, asylum seekers to be issued permits without the proper checks or verifications.
to the identity fraud and DNA manipulation. That's an example also that we also want to highlight. Based on the finding of the SIU investigation in conjunction with the Interpol, a significant scheme of identity fraud has been uncovered, primarily involving foreign nationals who obtain South African passport to commit crime abroad or seek refugee status elsewhere. The investigation revealed a specific modus operandi in which this individual collude with the departmental official to gain unauthorized access to Department of Home Affairs offices. Once inside, they fraudulently use the fingerprints of an unsuspecting South African citizen while substituting the photograph on the application with that of a foreign national. In response to this finding, the SIU has proposed systemic recommendation to bolster security, and we advise that while the department is implementing its biometric system, it should enforce stricter control on passport photographs.
There you have it. There you have it. You know what the irony for me is? I wonder how many of these officials who facilitated this illegality are the first to support initiatives and movements like Operation Dudula.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
The other story we're keeping a track on is the Deputy National Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sabia, who was, of course, once again under the cosh at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday. And one of the issues that arose was the accusation that he got impalas from Vusumuzi Cat Matala, the murder accused. And of course, he denied this. He bought a property, a small holding, and on which he said he found this game, including impalas, antelope, and blesbok. And at some point, there was a WhatsApp exchange in which witness F, whose identity had been withheld, and notice I'm saying had been withheld, I'll explain in a minute, for safety reasons and safety concerns. And the allegation was that witness F facilitated exchanges between Sabia and Matlala. Sabia then says to the commission, no, these impala that were on his farm, he didn't ask for them. He doesn't know why witness F would try to secure these impala for Matlala for him. And he at some point says, no, the last of the animals on his farm died in 2023. He had then at some point has shown evidence of pictures from his phone to witness F of dead impalas in 2024, making the request to get more on his farm. I noted to some friends yesterday that Sabia hides the truth almost as effectively as baby Mugabe hides the gun. Hey? Mateo? That is funny.
I'm laughing. Do you want me to switch my mic on?
I want you to listen to this clip where Sabia, of course, acknowledges these impalas and that they were delivered to his property.
Attitude was the only thing that was to be delivered was the impalas, correct?
Not the impalas. What I wanted.
General, I've said it will be the third time now. I have said at this stage, I'm not talking about your attitude, but what was to be delivered according to the conversations, the context was the impalas, correct? Yes, your attitude was, Sergeant Kosi, if it's impalas, I don't want to hear a thing about them. All I want is a mate for this one animal, which is a blesbok. If it's impalas, I don't want. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you that in context, everything that was spoken about was about the delivery of impalas. I'm not talking about what your attitude was to that. Is it not correct?
It's correct, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Right, because he's having a back and forth about, I want impalas, I want, yay. Did this conversation take place? That's essentially what he's being asked. And there, of course, he has to concede. At some point, Sabia says, this is probably the Fet Cook moment. Do you remember in the Zonda Commission when she says, if you go to the child next door and they bake fat, and it's a ridiculous. This is Sabia's Fet Cook moment.
I'm looking at a chair now. When you have a chicken or a goat and you want it to enter into this door and you pushing it and it tries to go and you bring it here and try to reason to bring it here. Now, Commissioner Baloy put a fact and as I tried to respond, she said, no. Then she goes and she goes. Then I try to, you understand that she actually wants me to enter into that one door. And it's a problem for me. It's really don't overwhelm me. The authority is different. I am sitting here where I am, and you are at a higher authority in such a way that I have to respect the authority. And the fact that where you are coming from, you're speaking from a position of power, does not necessarily mean that now it compels me to concede. And then the moment I concede, then the media, he considered this he was grilled for this, was forced to this. It's unfair. Okay. Chair.
When you want a goat or a chicken to go through that door, he's a victim now. He's just a goat. He's just a chicken being forced to go into that door.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk.
Mutel, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know from you and the 702 landers, how do you deal with work-life balance? And have you had to adjust your work day in order to make more time for your family?
Sometimes the chicken or the goat does not go into the door.
I'm forcing you in the hole now. I want to know.
Sometimes the goat and the chicken do not go into the door. Right? Sometimes work goes into the door and home stays. And sometimes home goes into the door and work is left behind.
I try to be present in whatever moment I'm in. So if it is that I'm working, I'm at work, I'm working, right? If I'm home, I try, because it's difficult. The nature of our work requires us to almost be on our phones all the time. But I try to put the phone down and just focus on. Plus, my kids are still too small. You know, they still need attention. Yeah.
All right. So you're able to put the goat and the chicken through the door.
Thank you for not answering like Sabia. Thank you.
702.
Weather.
What conditions can you expect on this Tuesday? Gauteng, cloudy day in store. Isolated showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures a lot lower today. 23 is your high in Johannesburg and Vereeniging. It's 24 for Pretoria. That's the same for Bloemfontein and Gqeberha. Cape Town peaks at 25.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we still have got that major accident scene in the Bedford View area right near the Kiluli's interchange. Delays from the Elands interchange at this moment, about a 30-minute hold up there. And it's 3 major accident scenes along the same route. So please be on the lookout. All lanes are affected. And unfortunately, the N1 South is also backed up due to onlookers. And then if you're traveling towards Sandton, do expect heavier traffic volumes on the M1 North. This is between Apple Oaklands and Grayston Drive. And there's also queuing traffic reported on the Mike 1 North between Xavier Street and the double-decker section. Peak time delays there. And do remember that it is raining in most parts of Gauteng, so please be on the lookout. Drive a bit slower than usual and keep your safe following distance there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This month is all about love, but the gym instructor won't be feeling the love if you're late for the Zumba class. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to ease traffic congestion so you can get to the gym on time. With the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads for the past 20 years, we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Have you ever had to apologize for something you can't quite control? A stutter, perhaps, under pressure, a laugh at the wrong moment, an accent that assumes or sparks assumptions, a name people refuse to pronounce. So it was the BAFTA Awards this past weekend, and on Sunday, outrage followed after a BBC broadcast. Remember, the BAFTAs are a 3-hour ceremony, but they are not broadcast live. So the BBC then edits the 3 hours into, say, a 2-hour broadcast. But what they kept in their truncated version was a racial slur shouted from the audience when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting an award. There's a guy called John Davidson who is a Tourette's campaigner has got Tourette's syndrome. This is an involuntary tic. He just says things and he can't control it. The controversy, of course, was that what he said during that ceremony was he used the N-word. Later on in that same broadcast, one of the actors, filmmakers, Wale Davis and Akinola Davis Jr., they won. And in a politically charged speech right at the end, they made the comment about free Palestine. The BBC was able to edit that out, but they kept the guy with the Tourette's syndrome using the N-word. So the controversy is on a number of levels. But can you imagine having Tourette's syndrome? Just being able to utter whatever comes through your mind in the wrong moment, at the wrong time, to the wrong person, and being completely unable to control it, and expecting people around you to understand. Let's keep it around the racism theme. You remember we told you, of course, about that football match between Benfica and Real Madrid last week, where Gianluca Prestiani for Benfica allegedly said something racially abusive to the Madrid player Vinicius Jr. You remember there was footage of him hiding his mouth through his vest, right? And UEFA have provisionally suspended Prestiani for the Wednesday Champions League second leg against Real Madrid. And right on cue, KG finds that music for the Champions League. He won't be hearing that music on Wednesday at the stadium. Prestiani, he'll be at home. After nearly 24 years, listen to this extraordinary story Adam Gilchrist is going to give us later. So one Michelle Lynn Handley-Smith vanished from a routine trip in 2001. She completely vanished. For decades, her family and authorities searched across the area. She was from North Carolina. They followed every lead. They even launched a Facebook campaign to trace her. And finally, just last week, a tip finally cracked the case. The big question is, where has she been all these years? Can you imagine somebody who disappeared in 2001 suddenly popping up, your long-lost sister or brother or uncle or aunt, and they just suddenly pop up years later? Where do you even begin? Well, it was on this day, 1938, that DuPont, a chemical company founded in 1802, began the commercial production of nylon. This is a synthetic fiber that has transformed everyday life from stockings and toothbrushes to parachutes. Its name evolved from no run, new run, then nylon, and then finally nylon, for clarity and ease of pronunciation. Although according to the Chappies paper, it apparently came from the combination of New York and London. It didn't.
702.
The newspapers.
Sfisa Zulu, of course, knows exactly what is fact and fiction. Looking at the newspapers this morning, Sfisa?
I would hope. Listen, Bongani, while Home Affairs officials in our country are being exposed for visa corruption, other parts of the world are dealing with immigration issues in a way that puts ours to shame. So the island of Malta, I think it's called, it's in the central Mediterranean. It is considering on-spot fines for non-residents and tourists, right? When you make noise or you litter, you would have to pay a fine. And if you make excessive noise for the neighbors and the local residents, you'd have to make a fine. So this is a proposal from the Home Affairs Department in Malta. So next time you are there, just make sure you don't scream at the top of your voice unnecessarily.
Not so
Otherwise,
loud.
you'll
Not
be
so loud.
fined.
The front page of the Sowetan today, Lesotho's pledge to end water crisis. 3 murdered every hour is the statistic released by SAPS, and that's on the front page of The Citizen. And the Business Day leading with Spar's woes.
EWN Business.
All right, Mateo, let's get straight into it. Work-life balance. What prompts that question?
Well, Bongani Spar Group shocked markets last week after CEO Angelo Swartz abruptly announced his resignation at the firm. The retail firm's shares dropped by 7% as the exit left investors nervous about the company's turnaround plan. Now, Swartz had been at Spar for close to 20 years, serving 2.5 years as CEO. In a report by MoneyWeb, Swartz is said to have left the role to focus on his family. The outgoing CEO says the last 5 years in particular have required extraordinary focus and intensity. Swartz says he was deeply committed to the business, its people and the retailers, and that role has come at a significant personal cost, and that it was time for him to prioritize his family after a demanding chapter at Spar. And things have been quite tough at Spar. The company has seen a market value fall by more than 45% in the past year. The company is still reeling from its failed supply chain SAP system, that rollout hurting it by 1.6 billion rand. Profit margins are still quite tight due to intense competition, low food inflation at Spar, and deflation in key categories. The retailer's turnover grew by a modest 2.1%, while its gross profit margin also shrank during the period. How it traded yesterday on the market? Down 9%. So it's quite a turbulent time for Spar right now.
Where's the rand?
16.03 against the US dollar, 18 rand 87 cents against the euro, and at 21 rand 61 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,168 an ounce, or platinum at $2,147. Brent crude at $72.01 a barrel. More business after 7.
Let's go straight to the news desk. Coming up, Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber talks to us about the SIU's uncovering of extensive corruption in that department. But of course, last night was all about the Premier's State of the Province address. Sviso?
That's right, Bongani. And the Gauteng government has now announced it will be creating a bulk infrastructure agency that will centralize all major projects in the province under one roof. The agency will also incorporate capital infrastructure projects from the 11 municipalities. Premier Panyaza Lesufi made the announcement during his State of the Province address last night.
If we can't make water, electricity and sanitation available immediately to investors, investors will leave us and go to other areas that can provide these services. So to this end, Gauteng will be establishing a bulk infrastructure agency that will coordinate and manage the provision of bulk infrastructure in the province.
The Sufi says there are 30 investors lined up for a speed train that will move between Gauteng and Limpopo, which will be one of the province's major infrastructure projects.
This dream of having a speed train between Gauteng and Limpopo will indeed now be realized in our lifetime. This intervention will ensure that the backlog that we have between Gauteng and Limpopo during weekends and long weekends will start to be history, so that the people of Limpopo can come in the morning and go back to Limpopo in the evening.
Various civil society organizations and some political parties are set to protest outside the Good Hope Centre today to oppose the City of Cape Town's auction of more than 50 parcels of public land. The Metro says the properties are zoned for residential, commercial, industrial and mixed-use purposes and will be made available for sale and lease. Properties to be auctioned include the Good Hope Centre precinct and parcels of land in Mitchell's Plain, Atlantis, Parow and Goodwood. The Good Party set to join in the protest in opposing the planned auction today. Its Deputy Secretary General Suzette Little says the auction is a slap in the face for more than 400,000 residents who are still on the city's housing waiting list.
They followed the rules. They trusted the process. Yet instead of prioritizing well-located land for social and affordable housing and community development, the DA-led administration is moving to dispose of public assets without meaningful engagement and without placing the housing crisis at the center of its decisions.
Zulu traditional Prime Minister Thulasizwe Buthelezi has called on warring factions in the AmaZulu royal family to honor a constitutional court ruling for the sake of unity. On Friday, the Apex Court dismissed an application by Princess Magade Samakosi and Mbonisi Zulu, who sought to overturn the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment affirming King Mr. Zulu as the rightful heir to the throne. The Apex Court ruling has put an end to a 5-year battle of the Zulu throne. throne. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Since the ascension of King Misuzulu to the throne, the Zulu royal family was deeply divided, as some preferred his older brother Princess Makate Samakhosi. And over the years, the matter was heard by various courts, including the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, where President Cyril Ramaphosa joined proceedings to argue that his recognition of King Misuzulu was done fairly. The Constitutional Court further lamented this. During a media briefing in Durban yesterday, Zulu traditional Prime Minister Thulasizwe Buthelezi had this to say.
We trust that Prince Makate, Prince Mbonesi, and all those who were challenging for the throne realize that they've come to the end of the road.
The opposing faction is yet to comment. However, the Zulu monarch has since declared that they are more than welcome back. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News.
And China has acted against 40 Japanese companies and entities citing national security concerns. This is the latest escalation of a months-long row that has seen tourism in Japan plummet. The two countries have been locked in a spat over comments by Japanese Prime Minister Tsunei Taikachi in November last year that Tokyo could intervene militarily in any attack of self-ruled Taiwan. In the latest move, Beijing's Commerce Ministry at least, restricted exports to 20 Japanese entities, including Mitsubishi and the Japanese Space Agency, accusing them of helping to enhance Japan's military capabilities. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 23 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got a major accident scene. In fact, accident scenes along the N3 North this morning, right near the Culinary interchange. Delays coming out of the Elands interchange, about a 30-minute hold up there. It's multiple accident scenes, so please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the Mike 1 North, another accident scene reported right near Melrose. It's right near Glenhove Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Kilani Bends towards the Grayston Drive off-ramp.
The top story this hour, the Gauteng government has announced it will be creating a bulk infrastructure agency that will centralize all major projects.
Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Sandton Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
Hi, this is Anlia Itzebet, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
There is something of a tendency with some government officials to create obstacles for people so that they are then induced to offer some kind of bribe to get what they want. Do you have a sense of how many of the people who paid the bribes would ordinarily have been entitled to those visas?
I think both. We find people who willingly know that they don't have the correct documentation.
Okay.
And then they come and bribe. But there are instances where people will make it clear that we cannot help you, but you can come after hours, we can help you.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
And now,
it's back to breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Hi, Bongani and team. Yes, I remember the nylon on the Chappies rap. Did you know thing? Correct. I also remember it.
Bongs, good morning. This is Titus from Toffontein. Yes,
I've read from, at some time in the past, I read from the Chappies paper that when we sneeze, our hearts, stop momentarily, brief seconds and stuff like that. But later on, I've heard from some studies that I read that it is not so, that our heart will never ever stop. Otherwise, even if it's for a few seconds, we might even have brain damage. So I think, yes, the Chappie papers lied to me. Titus Toffontaine.
The other thing about the Chappies chewing gum is how tough it is. You only realize as an adult, because you're nostalgic, and whenever you come across it, you think, oh, I used to eat these all the time. And then you bite into them, and they're so tough to chew. I was asking you about some information you believed as a child, and only later in adulthood did you find out it wasn't true. I was 2 years old when I found out that nylon isn't called nylon because it was invented in New York and London at the same time as the Chappies paper claimed all those years ago. It was invented by a chemical company that came up with that name. Who knew?
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, if you're a football lover, particularly if you love the English Premier League, whatever your team, it's good to see Man United coming back to some form, right?
Well, I think people will appreciate it because they've been in the wilderness for so long.
Shame, man.
Manchester United beating Everton 1-0 last night. Sesko's goal in the 71st minute moves them to the top four. United manager Michael Carrick.
Credit to Everton. It was a bit of a tight game in some ways, and then it was a little bit sticky. It wasn't flowing as much for us, but I think the spirit and the belief and the trust that the lads are gaining between themselves and between all of us, I think, is important. And they had it tonight. They needed everybody to put in that little bit extra, and in the end, that's what we got out of the game.
2 games in the Betway Premiership tonight. Sundowns are away at Amazulu. Kaizer Chiefs host Stellenbosch. The draw for the Nedbank Cup quarterfinals done last night. The only all-Premiership clash, Arrows against Durban City. Amazulu drawn to play Kasrek Stars. Kekone got Milford, and TS Galaxy will battle Jaxa Spears. Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani has been banned for 1 match after Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. reported alleged racist abuse during last week's Champions League game. Prestiani will miss tomorrow's second leg tie. Tonight's second leg playoff, Newcastle with a 5-goal lead over Qarabağ. Runners-up Inter Milan have to overturn a 2-goal deficit against Bodo Glimt. Olympiacos trail Leverkusen by 2. Atletico Madrid against Bruges tied on aggregate. At the T20 Cricket World Cup, Zimbabwe lost to the West Indies by 102 runs in the Super 8s. Hetmeyer made 85 from 34. Powell with 59 as the West Indies posted 254 for 6. That's the team's highest total at a T20 World Cup. They then had Zimbabwe 147 all out. Motti with 4 wickets. Wendy's captain Shai Hope.
When you get 250 plus on the board in a T20 game, then you must be happy as a batting unit. And then with the ball being as clinical as we did, especially in the middle phase and power play. So I would call it more of a complete game for us. But if you want to be picky, there's always areas that you can improve.
Today's game, Pakistan against England. And the United Rugby Championship action this weekend at Ellis Park. The Storm is hopeful Dion Fourie will make his long-awaited return from injury. He tore his bicep last year, October. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, I'm Katlako Mosue. I'm a 23-year-old boy from Johannesburg, South Bosonia. And I love listening to 702 because it is informative and it keeps us up to date with current affairs.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
Mzansi with only 6 numbers to match. That's actually what you need, hey? The right combination of 6 numbers. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for an estimated 82 million rand in total jackpots this Tuesday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 55 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 27 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusher, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Hey, Baliz, where you been?
Gemstar, just got back from New York and London.
Nice. Must have been rough working from hotel rooms.
No, friend. I was at WeWork the whole time. Everything I needed.
Still blows my mind how big this place is.
I know, right? WeWork Rosebank is like 6 floors.
Private offices, hot desks. I love that you can choose.
Wi-Fi that never lets you down.
My team doesn't want to go home anymore.
WeWork, 24/7 co-working spaces. Book your free WeWork tour at Rosebank, Sandton or Cape Town. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
What do you call someone who thinks outside the box?
creative. But what about someone who codes the box, brands it, sells it, rebrands it, and leads a team that reinvents it? That's a Red and Yellow graduate. Apply now to Unleash Remarkable with Red and Yellow Creative School of Business, a member of Honoris United Universities.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? It's brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, which you can WhatsApp us to 072 702 1702. This is based on anything you heard in the show that piqued your interest. Then later, someone else will ask a question and they will walk away with 2,000 Rand. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance to get yourself a quote. So do it now. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hello, my name is Lilita Majiki and I am 10 years old from Rivera Primary School and I want to be a singer when I grow up and I'm so excited to play the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
Make 2026 your year for personal growth. Apply now for the mid-year intake of either the Masters of Business Administration or Postgraduate Diploma in Business Administration at Wits Business School. Their MBA and PDBA programs will equip you with the critical thinking and leadership skills necessary to face the challenges of the evolving world of work and business. Applications are now open for the July intake and close on 30 April. Visit wbs.ac.za for more info. Wits Business School, sculpting global leaders.
Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
702 was in conversation with Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking, discussing the African Markets Conference 2026.
This is the second year we're hosting it in South Africa. It's an event we previously hosted internationally where, as you correctly put it, we bring together policymakers across the continent with allocators of capital which are based both in the continent and more interestingly globally. And that is really to do a couple of things. First is to connect them and the capital to some of the large infrastructure gaps that require large swathes of capital across the continent, but also equally for the regulators to hear directly from investors in terms of the environment that they require to be able to show confidence in allocating this capital.
Standard Bank CIB, host of the African Markets Conference 2026, engaging with leaders, turning ambition into investable action on 702.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
Let's catch up with the roads now. 12 to 7. The N3 North. There's a crash there.
No great goal area, absolutely, Bongani. That accident is causing more than a 40-minute hold-up coming out of the Elands interchange. As a result, please try to use alternative routes like the N12 as well as the Mike 1 North into areas like Sandton. And then if you are traveling along the M1 North, do expect delays between Xavier Street and the Double Decker Station. This is due to peak time delays. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
This is financial year end. This is financial year end supercharged with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software. Try Zero free for 30 days. Terms apply. Search Zero with an X.
In business, progress happens when people meet, ideas collide, and partnerships take root. So for the past 20 years, Meetings Africa has created that space, connecting Africa to the world. So catch Clement Manyatela's show today from the Sandton Convention Center for the 20th edition of Meetings Africa. So from global buyers to African innovators, partnerships will be formed, deals sparked, and the future of business event will take shape. It's brought to you by South African Tourism.
best of them all.
It's the Whiskers on 702.
Up next, extensive corruption uncovered at Home Affairs. What's the Minister of Home Affairs doing about it? He joins us in a minute to explain. In the meantime, 10-year-old Lilita wants to walk away with 10,000 Rand. Lilita, are you ready to play?
Yes.
Yes, I like the confidence. I like the energy. Good luck to you, Lilita. KG, start the clock. Yes. Spell the word forward.
Forward.
It's Forward. For which word means go up? Is it descend or ascend?
Ascend.
Correct. What is 28 plus 10?
38.
Correct. The expression ETA means estimated time of what?
Skip.
Arrival. About which animals is the TV series Paw Patrol?
About dogs.
Correct. True or false? Angola is a neighbor of South Africa?
True.
That's false. In which South African province is Sun City?
Skip.
Northwest. What force pulls objects towards the center of the earth?
Gravity.
Correct. And that is our 60 seconds up. Lilita, not the easiest of rounds for you. Some tough questions there tripping you up a little. You walk away, though, with 400 Rand. 400 Rand. 4 correct answers is what you walk away with. Say what, at 10 years old, 400 Rand was a lot of money.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiskers
on 702.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
8 to 7, on to this now. Many South Africans rightly complain of our porous borders. But what if the problem of illegal immigration is in fact an inside job? The Special Investigations Unit has revealed shocking fraud at the Home Affairs Department, and it involves millions of rands. Officials, religious leaders, and foreign nationals colluding between 2004 to 2024. Visas, permits, permanent residence documents sold or fast-tracked for bribes. The scheme enriched foreign nationals to the tune of over 181 million Rand. And 4 officials, this is the kicker, 4 officials, their salary was 25,000 Rand a month. Well, in that time, they netted over 16 million Rand. Officials who earned a fairly modest income with palatial homes, living large. The Minister of Home Affairs joins us now. Leon Schreiber, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani. Good to be with you.
What is your response, I suppose, to this large-scale fraud that seems to have occurred over quite an extended period of time?
Yeah, I think the first response is that old saying that sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think it is very important that for the first time we really have now a very comprehensive investigation that has exposed in full color for all of us to see the realities that we are dealing with here. The SIU investigation was proclaimed by President Ramaphosa on the 16th of February 2024, and it looked back from 2004 up till 2024 to comprehensively investigate these kind of cases of visa fraud and maladministration, as I say, in a very comprehensive manner. So I think that gives us the reality. We need to start by dealing with the reality and understanding how these syndicates and networks operate. And now we're taking action. So I think once you have the full picture, the next question is, what are you doing to enforce accountability for the people involved? And I think the third prong of the strategy is then to say, what are the systemic changes you are making to ensure that this doesn't happen again in future, or that you at least close the loopholes that these people are using to exploit these kind of systems. I think it's striking, Bongani, like we are talking about, in some cases, you've mentioned 4 officials there. In other cases, there is a reference to 11 officials. This is a small handful of people in many cases, it's striking that they are sort of junior level officials who have enormous discretion over visa applications. These are manual processes, paper-based applications, and you actually have given, over a period of 20 years, discretion to people to make decisions on visa outcomes, and that is the real loophole that people are exploiting and to enrich themselves.
Yeah. Minister, you talk about, the sunlight, right? The spotlight, as it were, being placed on this problem. I would put it to you that over the period under question, many investigations, including by investigative journalists, have exposed some of the rot at Home Affairs. It's been well known right up to some of your predecessors. I'll use one particular example of an official who was in Home Affairs, whom I interviewed not too long ago, and lives with bullets lodged in his body after numerous attempts to try and kill him for having exposed the rot that was going. His name was mentioned by a former Home Affairs minister as a whistleblower. We find out these things, the spotlight is put on them, they're exposed, but as you say, the systemic changes that would prevent such a thing from happening again simply don't occur.
Yes, I think that is of course the frustration, Bongani. And as I say, of course, this is something that's come over a period of 2 decades. And it is now on us in the 7th administration to do something about it. And I think the indications are clear that we are taking this very, very seriously. So even before this most recent report, we had already dismissed 35 people. Since this report has been since we've been working with the SIU on a more systematic basis, we've dismissed another 20 of them. All of the officials that we were describing yesterday. You could hear the SIU describing them in detail, not mentioning names, but we know who they are. We are coming for them. It is happening. It is a process that is underway, and we are cleansing this department of these people. Yes, of course, you can say that this should have been done a long time ago, but I am there now. I was not there before, and we are acting against this.
Yeah.
We had 275 criminal referrals, and we're looking at the visas themselves. Remember, there's a perpetrator on the other side as well, who bribes people to get these documents. We're also going after those processes and those documents.
Minister, do we need to rethink, particularly how we allow religious leaders from foreign countries to operate in this one? I mean, you can hardly call it a scarce skill in South Africa, can you?
No, we need to absolutely rethink how we do all of this, Bongani. And that is what we've been doing over the past 18, 19 months. And that's why we've built solutions like the electronic travel authorization. So the big rethink, not only as it relates to these religious leaders, is to say, why do low-level officials have such extraordinary levels of discretion over these applications? And we have to actually remove that. We cannot have this power to manipulate outcomes residing with one or two people. That's where technology comes in. That's the first systemic response. So in addition to firing people who have been implicated and referring them for criminal investigation, and hopefully the NPA will support us to get them behind bars, that's important. But the bigger question is, how are you going to change the system so that you don't have these kind of things happening at this scale going forward? So the ETA is our most powerful tool against this because it uses machine learning, AI technology, to actually close the space for people to manipulate. Can I just give you an example? If someone applies with a fraudulent passport, it's very difficult. It's a technical skill to actually spot a fraudulent passport. But with machine learning and the ETA, which we've now rolled out, it actually does that within seconds. We sometimes see these people actually using the same bank statement over and over again, 15 visa applications, everyone using the same bank statement. With individual, even if they are not corrupt, it's difficult to spot that. But with technology, the thing immediately blocks the application and says, but this same bank statement was used yesterday. That's what the ETA is doing for us, and it's using biometrics and facial matching to make sure that you can't use someone else's documents to apply. So this is really where the hope comes in, that we are systematically addressing the adjudication process. We're using technology to secure that process. And yes, the white paper that's out now, the draft revised white paper, it deals with a lot of these questions. You mentioned the religious leaders, but the other one that came up yesterday is retirement visas, where people there's no retirement age for these visas. So we want to say there has to be a minimum age for you to get a retirement visa. You can't come at 25 and say, you want to retire in South Africa. So comprehensive reform is underway. And I think that's just as important as the accountability side.
All right, Dr. Leon Schreiber speaking to us from Cape Town, the Minister of Home Affairs. I mean, I talk about religious leaders. Think about Shepherd Bushiri, right? The so-called self-proclaimed prophet. There were others. There was also, of course, the one who was was it Gqeberha, the other pastor, Timothy Omotoso. These were religious leaders who came to South Africa, started these religious organizations, but also registered other businesses. For example, Bushiri is said to have had 14 companies registered, 19 million rand paid in cash in one example from one of his non-profit organizations. Surely the ability to preach isn't a scarce skill. Why do we need these foreign pastors to come to South Africa to preach the gospel? South Africans should be able to do it. I can do it. I did it. Okay, I won't do it. But you get the point that I'm making, right? This is what they use as part of the corrupt network. Perhaps it's time to rethink who we allow in the country to do what. It's 7 o'clock.
7:02. Coming up, the big interview.
2 minutes after 7 o'clock, in fact. And time for your latest Eyewitness News, brought to you by Khalix, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is EWN.
Parts of Gauteng still without water despite government promises that help is on the way. And there's been another shooting of suspected criminals in KZN. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Gauteng Premier Banyazile Sufi says water has been restored in some parts of the province that were severely affected by supply disruptions. But Lesufi says technical teams are still working to bring water back in other communities. The Premier recently had to apologize for saying that he was equally affected by supply and even had to take a shower at a hotel while most people either had to queue or wait in long lines to get water from tankers. Lesufi has again apologized for water supply problems during his State of the Province address last night.
Another area that was hit was Soweto. We've now made great progress. Except for Meadowlands Zone 3 and Zone 4, and areas receiving water from the Doornkop Reservoir, Soweto has now been restored with water.
The Premier says there are some outstanding areas that are still without water.
However, the areas that remain stubborn and extremely difficult to resolve the water challenges are part of Westdean, Coronationville, Sophia Town, Melville, Emarentia, and some sections of Dorongo.
Police in KwaZulu-Natal say they have killed 2 cash-in-transit suspects. The deceased are accused of robbing a cash van in Verulam yesterday. Police say the suspects opened fire when officers confronted them at their hideouts in Edendale in Pietermaritzburg last night. The Special Investigating Unit says the religious fraternity is increasingly exploiting loopholes in the permanent residence system to gain entry into South Africa for foreign pastors and prophets. Its most recent probe into corruption at Home Affairs has confirmed that both Malawian fugitive prophet Shepherd Bushiri and Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso, who was let off the hook on human trafficking charges last year, illegally gained access to South Africa. Acting SIU head Leonard Lekgetho says churches are helping to falsify documents and even lying about money to support pastors' applications for residency. Lindsay Tentlinga reports.
The SIU says Shepherd Bushiri lied about his financial status to obtain a permanent residence permit. A chartered accountant signed off on his financial documents for a mere 500 rand. SIU head Leonard Lekgetho says it's been confirmed that Bushiri's permanent residence permit was approved by a Home Affairs official who was also a member of his church.
Associated drafted and submitted documentation while donations were rerouted into personal account under the guise of tithe or seed transaction.
Meanwhile, Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso's fraud dates back to 2000, when the South African High Commission in London first issued him with a work permit.
As his status was repeatedly questioned, his method evolved to exploit administrative and procedural vulnerability within the Department of Home Affairs.
He was deported last year after being acquitted in a protracted criminal trial during which he was imprisoned. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And Mexico has deployed 10,000 troops to quell clashes sparked by the killing of the country's most wanted drug lord, Nemesio El Mencho Eseguera. Leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel was killed following a shootout with soldiers on Sunday. News of his death triggered violence, with cartel members blocking roads in 20 states and torching vehicles and businesses. During the raid and subsequent clashes, at least 27 members of security forces, 46 suspected criminals and 1 civilian were killed. Oseguera had a $15 million US bounty on his head. Calm has largely returned to Mexico. Gold is trading at $5,182.82 an ounce. The rand 16.02 to the dollar, 21.61 to the pound, 18.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.14 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we still have got heavy traffic volumes on the Makwa North. This is, in fact, a stop and go between Xavier Street and Santon Greyston Drive. This is due to accident scenes that are reported right near the Culinary Bends, as well as another one near Athol Oaklands. So please be on the lookout there and drive with care.
And in your sport, Benjamin Sesko gives Man United a 1-0 win over Everton to send the Red Devils to 4th in the Premier League table. Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani banned for 1 match for racist abuse. And the West Indies 7 runs short of a T20 record, but still thrashed Zimbabwe at the World Cup.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected later. Johannesburg starting at 16 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 17 and 24. Vereeniging 15 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says water has been restored in some parts of the province that were severely affected by supply disruptions.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This week, all eyes will be focused on the budget speech. And as is the norm, there'll be a lot of talking. Yet, it's said, the more things change, the more they remain as is. Like understanding that at Khaliq's, you will still get the best value for money. Hand-picked quality business suits in all colors and fabrics. That you'll find shirts, footwear and accessories, jackets, blazers and chinos too. You'll get excellent service and tailoring. So as you contemplate your budget, rest assured that at Khaliq's, you'll get more for your budget and a lot less speech. Khaliq's, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock, of course, last night was the State of the Province address by the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, who has assured residents of this province that water has been restored in parts where it had been severely disrupted. And he says there are other parts of the province that will get their supply problems sorted out. Did you listen? Did you watch the State of the Province address, even on YouTube? Did you go out of your way to say, I'm a resident of Gauteng. I care about what my premier has to say. I really want to know what plans, what proposals, what solutions he has for this, the hub of this economy. Indeed, some might say of the continent. Or do you just no longer care? Do you believe the premier? Can you relate to the premier? He who showers at hotels when he doesn't have water? He apologized for saying that? Or do you think, yeah, I hear your apology, but that comment, that slip-up, that faux pas, said everything I needed to know about the kind of man you are.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Keeping up to speed, of course, with the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, Lieutenant General Sabia yesterday facing some tough questions. I've already played you that moment where he talks about chickens and goats being herded into a door and essentially arguing that one of the commissioners, Advocate Sesi Baloyi, was doing exactly that to him. He's the victim, you see. At some point, there was this question of this game that had been given to him, allegedly by the murder accused, Vusumuzi Kat Matlala, which he denied. And then the commission played a recording for him. I'll play a little bit of the recording. It's a little difficult for us to hear, but certainly Sabia heard the recording. And his best answer, you should try this at a DC, hey? At a disciplinary hearing. His best answer when they finally said, here's the evidence of an exchange in which you are talking. His best answer, Amo, was that it was AI generated. Die. Kick rock. Have a listen.
Remember, it's a game of I say private. It's not like it's in the wild. It's a 3,000 hectare farm. They are roaming free. Yeah. It's not like you can name or over the field. It's in the wild. I'm not worried about this recording at all because it's such a lie. I'm very worried about the evidence leader because she selectively chooses portions that she thinks could only address what she wants to achieve, but also deliberately choosing to ignore the fact that Mr. Matlala raised an issue and said, I have a problem with this recording. This is not my voice. It was AI generated. That's the first point.
Yeah, it's not his voice. It was AI generated. I mean, it really is quite extraordinary. One of the things, of course, under discussion was around a plot that he bought in 2017. And he says there were animals, there was game on this plot, on this farm, if you will, and that it had antelope, it had impalas, one of which he said, the last of which, I beg your pardon, he said died in November 2023. And then he was asked about evidence that was provided by Witness F, whose name, of course, was withheld for safety reasons. Witness F is alleged to have facilitated the buying or the delivery of more game on Sabia's farm, which he denied because he said, no, hang on, the last of my animals died in November 2023. He found it difficult, though, to explain WhatsApp messages that showed that he, Sabia, was sending pictures of dead antelopes in March 2024 to prove he needed more. That he couldn't explain. At some point, and you'll see some of the visuals, there's a meme now going around of the moment as they play some of the video evidence, he can see that his goose is cooked and has this extraordinary facial expression as he reacts to that. But I want you to listen to this moment now where, because of course, Witness F is central to the allegations, he had to respond. Somehow, inadvertently, by mistake, General Sabia reveals his identity.
My only concern is that when you speak to Nkosi and Nkosi says to you and you,
I think that horse has bolted, General. it bolted some answers back. So
I'm sure the chair realized what I did and I was caught off guard.
I think we've reached a point where it's farcical to try to avoid the name. It's all farcical. Let's just continue.
He said it so many times, and after the third or fourth time, he goes, "Oh no, what have I? Oh, I was overwhelmed. It was all an accident." You see, this is a name that's been withheld for safety reasons. As I said earlier, General Sabia tries to hide the truth almost as successfully as Baby Mugabe hiding that gun.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
EWN.
It's 7:15. Let's get into traffic. It's peak time delays in a lot of places. Amo?
Yes, Bongani, and not forgetting the wet weather conditions this morning. As a result, several roads are heavily backed up due to heavy rain. So if you're traveling on the Mike 1 North, do expect queuing traffic between Xavier Street all the way towards Grayston Drive. There's major accident scenes along this route, and that's the reason for the backup. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North between the Yelands interchange and the Geldenes interchange. Well, the good news though is that accident that was on the N3 North this morning has been cleared, but traffic remains heavily backed up. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's the baby Mugabe for me. It's too early, and it's too early. Baby Mugabe.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
16 minutes after 7 o'clock. No increase. The cost of living is already unbearable. These are just some of the cries of many members of GEMS. This is, of course, the Government Employees Medical Scheme. Public servants who are demanding that the recently implemented 9.8% medical aid contribution hike for 2026 be scrapped. You remember, GEMS exclusively serves provincial and national government employees. So we're talking teachers, we're talking police, nurses, municipal workers, police officers across the country. And many of them are slamming what their unions are calling an ill-conceived hikes. And they argue that this increase far outpaces inflation and wage growth and threatens affordable health care. And importantly, they argue this was imposed without proper consultation. We're joined now by Dr. Stan Mulwabi, who is, of course, the principal officer of GEMS, the Government Employees Medical Scheme. Dr. Mulwabi, I appreciate your time and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning, Mr. Bingwa, and good morning to the 702 lenders.
You're joining us, of course, because you want to explain the context of this increase. And many workers are saying GEMS isn't quite a gem.
Well, we want to believe that GEMS has remained a gem from the perspective of how it fares when compared to similar medical scheme options that are available. And this is based on annual research that we do, so that we have to look at the issue of affordability all the time, which is one of the main things that the members are saying they are unhappy about. So when you compare GEMS with similar products, it is approximately 25% cheaper. When you factor the subsidy that members receive from government, it compares even more favorably at about 51% cheaper than similar products.
This increase, though, they're saying has far outpaced inflation, and it means they can no longer afford it. They can no longer afford their premiums. What's your response to that?
We have to be sensitive to the pressures that all of us, including our members, are facing with regard to the economic situation we find ourselves in. So this increase was not just an increase that GEMS brought about. It is informed by the utilization of the benefits. That is how our members claim from the scheme in the preceding year. And that preceding year is 2025 in this case. And then based on the estimates of what the utilization will be for 2026, a determination which is based on actuarial models was that we need to increase the contributions by 9.8% for 2026. It is not a desirable increase. However, it is informed by what goes into, the calculation of the contributions for the next year.
How much is this increase influenced by GEMS liquidity and capitalization?
Well, the term that we use in the medical aid industry is the reserve ratio. So reserve ratio is what you are required by law to have in reserves, and that figure is 25% of the predicted contributions for the year. So that is always something that influences how much you are supposed to ask members to contribute. And the reserve ratio that we are required to keep throughout is 25%. A lower contribution increase than 9.5% would bring us fairly below that reserve ratio of 25%, and that is the influence.
But isn't it up to the scheme to make sure that that reserve ratio stays within what the regulator requires?
Well, we strive towards that.
So why are the workers having to pay for it?
Well, the medical scheme and all medical schemes have whatever remains in the kitty is influenced by two things: how much comes in and how much goes out. How much goes out is the claims. And in our case, the claims have been fairly high, particularly in the past year where the claims were about 4% above what was budgeted for.
What do you respond to the threats made by unions that if you don't change your mind about this, they'll call on their members to leave GEMS, to let the scheme collapse? They've also questioned expenses by GEMS, including board meetings, something like 53 times a year. And they want to explain the cost of those board meetings and information as to why members need to meet that often and that frequently, and they say that hasn't been forthcoming.
That information is public information, Mr. Bingwa. It is in our annual reports, and just to put perspective to those meetings, and not that they are not receiving attention, is the fact that these meetings that are regarded as board meetings include all meetings attended by the board members, which includes the committee meetings that have to be there to ensure that there is efficiency in how oversight is exercised by the Board of Trustees. But these things are receiving attention, including all the other demands that we are already aware of. There is going to be a board meeting under discussion to look at these demands that have been put forward by organized labor so that we can respond to these and implement together. And one of the important things that we need to do is to engage with labor to find solutions to the matters that they raise.
Dr. Mulwabi, I'm going to ask you to stay on the line because Mlungisi Ndlovu, who represents the Public Servants Association and is their KZN manager, has just joined us on the line. Mlungisi, I appreciate your time. You've heard Dr. Mulwabi saying, look, these are necessary increases to keep GEMS as a scheme going, to make sure that they comply with what the regulator requires in terms of the reserve ratio. He has enormous sympathy with workers, but says this is simply the reality we find ourselves in. What's your response?
Good morning to the listeners. Firstly, I think the principal officer is not reading the atmosphere. These technicalities that he's raising, and it's not the first time that he's going out the media trying to explain unexplainable. Firstly, he talked about 25% reserve. Remember, when GEMS was established in 2006, it was not meant to be commissionalized. That's the first thing. The second thing, how do you justify 53 meetings of the board in one financial year? That's how they are misusing the worker scheme. Secondly, if you look at the benefit, the lower benefit, Tanzania, some of our members are saying they are being rejected, not longer being admitted in private hospital. They are being asked to pay the upfront payment. How do you justify to increase the medical aid contributions? Look at 2025, it was 13.4%. This year it was 9.8%. In less than 24 24 months, it has increased by 23%. And members are so frustrated. He's earning about 5 million. You can imagine why he continued to defend this. He does really don't understand that James is milking the public servants. All this particular explanation really does not make sense.
If I can just jump in there, your first point was, of course, James was not established to be commercialized, but surely James has to meet the regulatory requirements of the regulator. That's how all medical schemes are governed in terms of the percentage of the reserve ratio. That's not something Dr. Molwabi and his colleagues have made up.
It is their own making, because what they're trying to do, they are trying to make James commercialize James to gain profit. Let me give you a classical example. The Council for Medical Aid said to them, you can be able to increase by 3.3%, but they went against that recommendations, because as a principal officer and accounting officer, he's supposed to advise the board. They went against 3.3%. He must be explained why are they saying that. He must explain why are they not revising that 25% reserve camp. And that's why PSA under Fedusa is saying he has failed as a principal officer and executive. The only thing that he can do is to resign and allow other people to take over and be able to for James to be reformed. These things of saying it is the board of trustees that will tell him, he continues to be arrogant. He's not willing to engage organized labor. He engaged them on his own arrogance.
Mlungisi, what happens now? Is the threat to try and collapse James still real?
What we have said in our memorandum, they must respond within 7 days. We are saying we're calling for investigations, because finances of James does not make sense. We're calling for internal investigation. They must be able to respond in that letter within 7 days. If they don't respond, obviously some of our members are saying they should withdraw from James. But what we are saying, James should be reformed. What we are saying, resolution 1 of 2006, it must be reviewed, because they are not.
If you don't get your demands, what happens, Mlungisi?
What we don't get our demands, we'll take it further, because we are still sourcing the mandate from our members.
Your members will tell you what to do and how to proceed. Right, Mlungisi Ndlovu there is the PSA KZN manager. Dr. Stan Molwabi, the principal officer of GEMS, listening in to all of that. I'll let you have the last word on this. Mlungisi says, you earn 5 million rand a year. You can't relate to the suffering and pain most of their members experiencing. That's why you're okay with this increase. Your response?
No, I have indicated that as GEMS, we are very sensitive to the increases that we find ourselves having to implement. The demands that have been put forward by the FEDUSA aligned unions, which are the ones we received on Saturday, will be put before the Board of Trustees in a meeting on the 26th of, that is on Thursday, and this will be responded to. We recognize that we have challenges that are based on what our members are saying, and we are listening to that, and we are hoping that the meetings to come up with solutions will start after these matches.
Do you earn over 5 million rand annually?
My salary is a matter of public knowledge. It is in the annual integrated report of GEMS.
So tell us.
Every year. No. Yes, I mean that's what it is. It is the salary of a person who's got the responsibilities that I have.
You understand how it may sit with employees of government departments who earn significantly less.
One finds oneself having to deal with the fact that you have to be transparent, because I think my position is similar to being in public office, and I accept that. I took up the position when I applied for it and successfully applied for it, knowing that these disclosures have to be there.
Appreciate your time. Dr. Stan Molwabi is the GEMS Principal Officer. Mlungisi Ndlovu, of course, joining us from the Public Servants Association.
EWN Business.
All right, let's talk business now. Muteo Khwaripa, Sasol profits taking a knock as oil and chemical prices remain low.
Yeah, energy and chemicals giant Sasol is under pressure. The group's earnings are down, falling 34% rather due to weaker oil and chemical prices. The company posting a 95% decline in basic earnings per share for the 6 months ended in December. Now, despite maintaining steady turnover of 122 billion rand, the group was impacted by a challenging macro environment. Sasol still carrying a heavy debt pile of 63.3 billion rand. That's $3.8 billion.
China, interest rates remaining unchanged.
Yeah, China's central bank keeping its benchmark lending rate unchanged on Tuesday. The People's Bank of China held its 1-year and 5-year loan prime rates at 3 and 3.5% respectively. The world's second largest economy showed signs of slowing down in the final quarter of 2025, expanding just 4.5% year on year. You'll remember the Chinese government targeting 5% growth. Chinese authorities have struggled to lift the economy out of an entrenched deflation as consumers cut back on spending amid a prolonged real estate downturn in the country, a bleak job market, and uncertain income prospects.
Where are your indicators?
Well, the rand at 16.03, slightly weaker against the dollar at this hour, 18 rand 87 against the euro, and at 21 rand 62 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,170 an ounce, while platinum at $2,150. Brent crude at $71.86 a barrel. More business after 8.
Straight to the news desk we go. Sfiso Zulu. Let's talk about COSATU. What are they going to do against GEMS this morning?
Well, Bongani, they are going to picket at the offices of the Government Employees Medical Aid Scheme. The trade union says the demonstrations are part of a broader 3-month program of action against exorbitant fee increases. Recently, GEMS announced a 9.8% increase on medical aid contributions. COSATU and its affiliates have rejected the hike, arguing workers cannot afford it amid rising living costs. Spokesperson Zanele Sabela.
Medical aid costs are rising far above wages and inflation. This is real wage erosion and a direct attack on workers' take-home pay. GEMS was never intended to operate like a profit-driven commercial scheme. GEMS has unfortunately abandoned this mandate.
GEMS Principal Officer Dr. Stan Molwabi has responded to the concerns by the union.
This increase, it is informed by the utilization of the benefits. That is how our members claim from the scheme in the preceding year. And that preceding year is 2025 in this case. And then based on the estimate of what the utilization will be for 2026, a determination which is based on actuarial models was that we need to increase the contributions by 9.8%.
After resigning as a Member of Parliament, the MK Party's Colleen Makubele is understood to be leaving politics altogether. Makubele served as the party's chief whip, and yesterday she announced her resignation from the official opposition by the end of this month. Her departure is one more case in a long list of chops and changes from MK Party MPs in the National Assembly. Tabiso Goba takes a look.
While she's not announced her next step, EWN understands Colleen Makubele will be standing back from politics altogether to focus on other business interests. It has been a turbulent 3 years for Makubele in the political scene, where she's been with 3 different parties. In November 2023, COPE terminated her membership, which subsequently meant she lost her job as the Johannesburg Council Speaker. She then went on to form her own political party, the South African Rainbow Alliance. However, the party failed to get a single seat in the 2024 general elections, leading to Makubele joining the MK Party the following year. She was quickly made a Member of Parliament for the MK Party and then promoted to its chief whip in Parliament. However, she would only hold on to that position for about 8 months before a fallout with the MK leader's daughter, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, began the process of her exit from the party and eventually politics. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Zulu traditional Prime Minister Thulasizwe Buthelezi has called on warring factions in the AmaZulu royal family to honor a constitutional court ruling for the sake of unity. On Friday, the Apex Court dismissed an application by Princes Smagade and Mbonise Zulu, who sought to overturn the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment affirming King Misuzulu as the rightful heir to the throne. The apex court ruling has put an end to the 5-year battle. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Since the ascension of King Misuzulu to the throne, the Zulu royal family was deeply divided, as some preferred his older brother Princess Makate Samakhosi. And over the years, the matter was heard by various courts, including the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, where President Cyril Ramaphosa joined proceedings to argue that his recognition of King Misuzulu was done fairly. The Constitutional Court further lamented this. During a media briefing in Durban yesterday, Zulu traditional Prime Minister Thulasizwe Buthelezi had this to say.
We trust that Prince Makate, Prince Mbonisi, and all those who were challenging for the throne realize that they've come to the end of the road.
The opposing faction is yet to comment. However, the Zulu monarch has since declared that they are more than welcome back. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News.
And 7 people have been killed after a chartered air ambulance crashed in eastern India. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation says the aircraft crashed in the Kasaria area. Rescue and medical teams rushed to the site of the crash in what has been described as a difficult-to-access forest. The light aircraft asked for deviation due to bad weather and lost contact with air traffic radar after 23 minutes. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng today with showers. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 23 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got a major accident seen on the M1 North. It happened right near Glenhove Road. Delays from the Culinary bends. In fact, the entire M1 North this morning is heavily backed up with delays coming out of Xavier Street all the way towards Grayston Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 South between the Baklu interchange and Grayston Drive.
The top story, members of Labour Federation COSATU are preparing to picket at the offices of the Government Employees Medical Aid Scheme today.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Tutuzile Zuma has come out to confirm that she's one of the people that facilitated for some of these men to go to Russia, but she has explained that she was duped by someone else. In fact, she says she's gone to Russia to get the similar training as well. She just didn't know that by sending some of these men to Russia is going to mean that they're going to be deployed on the front lines.
She's not telling the truth because the tickets which were bought to fly them to Russia were from the MKP's account.
Tulani Mahlangu, who is the spokesperson for the families of the 17 South African men who are fighting with Russia in Ukraine.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
This is a message from Johannesburg Water. Johannesburg Water understands the frustration and inconvenience some residents are experiencing due to the current water interruptions in parts of the city. The technical teams are working around the clock to stabilize supply by repairing major leaks, managing system pressure and coordinating closely with the bulk supplier. Focused interventions are underway on critical systems and areas to support recovery and supply. Alternative water supply continues to be provided in affected areas. Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
What do you call someone who thinks outside the box? Creative. But what about someone who codes the box, brands it, sells it, rebrands it, and leads a team that reinvents it? That's a Red and Yellow graduate. Apply now to Unleash Remarkable with Red and Yellow Creative School of Business. A member of Honoris United Universities.
Naked people never skip leg day. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin, they've got more time for lunges and Romanian deadlifts. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start working out. Like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongani, I think one of the reasons GEMS is in the situation that it is because it pays out relatively easily for its members. And that's a good thing for members. So the question is, should they either not increase their fees or should they reduce the number of claims that they pay out? And I think increasing the fees is probably a better option if you look at the long-term outcome of its members' health.
Morning, Bongani. With the medical scheme board meetings, 53 just doesn't make sense. 53 meetings in a year is way too much. If the board has 4 subcommittees at the most, and they meet every quarter. That would equate to about 20 meetings in a year, which means that they are meeting 3 times more often. And just remember, each meeting comes with a sitting fee for each board member, and additional expenses as well. Yusuf from Johannesburg.
Aye, Kona Bongani. Aye, Kona. 53 board meetings on a non-profit organization is unheard of. We need to know how much were they paid for meetings, because that's how they make their money. That's a ridiculous thing to make 23% increase over 24 months when the government is calling for lower increases for the employees. This is ridiculous. No, it's absolutely, this is thuggery on a corporate level. Tabiso Centurion.
Tabiso in Centurion. All right, so the questions there are, would members rather the medical scheme pays less and becomes more stringent in terms of what they agree to pay out for, or this fee increase? The issue of the meetings and salaries, it may be par for course in terms of what the principal officer is paid, but gosh, it stings just a little when the guy who's earning 5 million rand says you can afford an over 13% increase, doesn't it?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. It's your chance to win 3,000 Rand in cash. First, we'll give you 1,000 for the answer, and then 2,000 for the person who gives us the question that leads to that answer. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from, is it Bota in Benoni? Bota, what's today's answer?
It is DuPont.
DuPont. And tell me, Bota, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
I'm already an Outsurance customer.
Your biscuit. 1,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. DuPont is the answer. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Alongside the battle for the top of the English Premier League, Cindy Paluta is always, of course, who makes it into the top 4, because that allows them to play Champions League football.
Right, so there's always something to play for. Even top 8, even Europa. I mean, it's always, there's money involved with every tournament that a team obviously does advance to. So Manchester United beating Everton last night, definitely helping them in their bid to try and book a spot in the Champions League. They're up to 4th in the Premier League now. Sesko with the goal in the 71st minute.
To help the team again and to secure the win, it's more than a perfect feeling, and especially now because it was a really important game and because it was really tough, it feels even better. Everyone was really fighting, like they put maximum out of each other, and that's why they paid off in the end, especially towards the end of the game. A lot of corners, a lot of fighting, and that's why they win the game.
2 games in the Betway Premiership tonight. Sundowns are away at Amazulu. Kaizer Chiefs host Stellenbosch. The Nedbank Cup quarter-final has one all-Premiership clash. Arrows against Durban City. Amazulu will play Casrick Stars. Kekone got Milford. TS Galaxy will battle Jaxa Spears. Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani banned for 1 match and misses tomorrow night's Champions League second leg tie after Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. reported racist abuse in last week's game. At the T20 Cricket World Cup, the West Indies remain unbeaten after a 102-run win over Zimbabwe. West Indies posted a team record 254 for 6 after Hetmeyer dropped twice, went on to make 85 from 34. Powell hit 59 off 35 in an innings that had 19 sixes. Marty took 4 wickets. Here's captain Shea Hope on Marty's performance.
Morty, he got a little period in the New Zealand series and he went home, worked on some skills. You can see he's back to where he was before, and he even added something to his game as well. That wrist spinner has been very, very crucial for us, especially against the lefties. But yeah, sometimes your time away from the game always gives you a nice chance to just refresh and regroup. So he's in a great space, and I could say the same for everyone.
Today's game, Pakistan against England. In the United Rugby Championship, fresh off beating the Sharks, the Lions will welcome the Stormers. Steph Ungarel on the team's 2-week break and the team's mindset heading into another derby.
Especially after those 2 derbies against the Sharks, so it's good to give the body a rest and also just to mentally get away a bit and recover and reset. I think the boys came back keen, refreshed and excited to get back going and fix a couple of wrongs.
The Stormers hopeful that Deon Fourie will make his long-awaited return from injury. He tore his bicep last year, October. And in boxing, 11 years after their first meeting, the greats Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather will fight each other again in September this year.
Ooh,
Mayweather,
your money's on?
I think eventually reaches a point where you can't be getting back into the ring. I mean, he's come out of, like, Mayweather's come out of retirement 3 times now.
Shem, apparently, remember how he kept all his money under the mattress? Quite literally, he had it cash. It's all gone.
It explains why he's
Yeah.
coming back into the ring. Yeah. Cindy Palita, Eyewitness News Sport.
Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Sandton Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
Think fast. Fast downloads, fast streaming, fast wins, because whether you're chasing high scores, deadlines, or the next episode, buffering is not part of the plan, and that's why your home needs the power of OpenServe Fiber. Fast, reliable Wi-Fi that keeps up with your life. And when you sign up before the end of March, you'll score a free Netflix voucher. Level up your home connection with OpenServe Fiber and feel the difference speed makes. Visit openserve.co.za today. T's and C's apply.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
EWN Traffic.
14 to 8, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. Amo?
Bongani, wet weather conditions this morning. Please keep a safe following distance, drive with care, and avoid speeding. If you are traveling in the city of Tshwane at this particular moment, we've got an accident reported on the N1 North. It happened after John Forster drivers causing heavy delays coming out of the Brakfontein interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported on the R21 North towards the Flying Saucer turn-off. Peak time delays there while traveling towards the CBD. Do expect delays along the R80 East Mabopane Highway coming out of Bremer Street towards Eskom Patlele turn off. Please remain patient on the roads this morning. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Peugeot pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia. Professional. Landtrack is pretty but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is DuPont. Let's go to the lines. I would say Tabo in Vosloorus has the question. Tabo, what's the question?
The question is, which chemical company founded in 1802 then also began commercial production of nylon on this day, 1938?
I always believed the Chappies paper, Tabo. I was 2 years old. Remember, did you know?
Yes.
It said nylon was invented in London and New York at the same time, and that's why it's called nylon. Apparently not true. I found that out today. Tabo, you're smarter than I am. Congratulations. 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. I asked the question earlier, what's that one belief you held to be true from childhood until significantly into adulthood that you later found out was in fact a fiction? I was 2 years old when I found out nylon isn't called nylon because it was invented in New York and London at the same time. I wonder who did the fact checking for Chappies all those years ago.
Wondering why 45-year-old Nuvan has such a big smile lately?
Outsurance. Saved me so much money. 461 rand.
That's right. With Outsurance, Nuvan saves an amazing 461 rand a month on his 2025 VWT Cross. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus.
So much money.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Mzansi, with only 6 numbers to match, play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 82 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 55 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 27 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
In my industry, the mission is to turn the G in GDP green. After all, good business shouldn't cost the earth.
Get financial solutions for environmental and social impact. With RMB, sustainability yields more than good intentions. Trees and Cs apply. RMB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
How would you like to lighten the load when it comes to getting your freight there conveniently and on time? You can with a tag. No scrambling around for cash or a card. Less time wasted. Choose the convenient way. To drive smart, download the Sanral app to link your cards and manage top-up payments for your convenience. For more info, visit sunral.co.za. Tags are the way to go. Sunral, an agency of the Department of Transport.
702.
What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
Ooh, your first video really touched a nerve. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, so this is a difficult one to explain because he says a lot in this video. His name is Tendai Luo. And he's basically saying, you know, if you are the upper middle class and your kids are going to elite schools, there needs to be some caution because those kids can grow up in a very, very, confused, call it reality, or the expectations can be very different once they finish school because of the people that they are surrounded with and the lives that they interact with. Now, I would imagine that this guy went to a very elite school because one of his friends was given an elephant as a birthday present. The elephant, by the way, still lives on a farm, according to some of the posts that I saw. But let's take a listen to what he says, and it's a lot, so try and absorb as much as you can.
We don't talk about this enough, but no one is at risk of failure more than upper middle class kids. And I say that because I grew up upper middle class and I almost blew it. You see, all throughout my life, my parents have worked incredibly hard to ensure that I went to top institutions. And part of the benefit there is that you get to be in close proximity to those who are elite and wealthy. The danger is that in your naivety, you can start to think that you are the same. You can start to believe that you too are elite and wealthy and move with the same privilege. And yet you actually don't have that privilege. You see, when you go to a school where your classmate gets an elephant for their birthday, you start to think that, hey, maybe I can coast through life the same way my friend is doing. And so it starts to show in your choices. Maybe you're not working quite as hard in school, or you pick a career that actually doesn't make sense because in your mind, because you're in this world, money isn't really an issue. But what you're not realizing is that it actually is an issue. Your parents are working to the absolute bone to keep you in that space, but you're not seeing it. Inversely, the other thing that happens is you start to lack the grit and tenacity that those from less privileged backgrounds might possess. And so ultimately you get into adulthood and it's a shock experience because now your parents actually can't phone XYZ and say, hey, why don't you give him a job? take him in, make him an intern. Could he be your manager? They don't have that same power. And on the flip side, your life has been so soft that you don't then have the skills to go out into the world on your own and try to make a plan the way the kid who didn't grow up with everything you had is probably doing right now. And so if you're a parent in the upper middle class echelon, understand that it's incredibly important to balance the privilege that you're affording your child with the realities of life that they're going to encounter further on. And if you are part of those kids who grew up in the upper middle class and are sort of feeling lost, understand that it's not your fault, but it is up to you to start to turn the ship around. Because even though we are fortunate, we don't carry the same privilege and power, and most importantly, the same second chances that our wealthy friends and colleagues might have enjoyed. You need to know your place in this world.
Oh, It wasn't just even about the second chances. It was even around the choice of career, right? If you grew up around wealth, even if you're not wealthy necessarily yourself or don't come from a wealthy family, the choice, for example, I don't know, I often use this as an example. It's a real thing, apparently. But if you want to study the migratory patterns of the African dung beetle, right?
Yeah.
You might not have the cushion that will allow you to live a certain type of lifestyle, if that's what you choose, or studying Elizabethan embroidery.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and one would need to caution their children if you are in those kinds of circles, because, like you said, not everybody can go study the migratory patterns of the dung beetle and then live a comfortable life because you have a trust fund, perhaps. But I mean, I also think he makes a lot of generalizations and makes it seem a terrible thing to be in that kind of circles where, I think you could have a lot of benefits and you could make a lot of networks being surrounded by those kind of people.
I agree. He says take advantage of what you've been exposed to and the circles in which you move, but don't kid yourself and think that, it isn't a privilege. Don't think that it's your right to be there, because you may not have the wealth that underpins what the rest of the guys who are in those circles have.
Yeah. So let's put it out there. I mean, there's so much to comment on this. So if you have a view on anything he said, do let us know. But maybe one or two points we can take there is if you are sending your child to a very elite school and maybe they're there because they're on a bursary, or you are working your bones off and you have a very good job as well, but you're not, this is generational wealth stuff that we're talking about here. And you do send your kids to these kind of places. How do you keep them grounded so that they know, that's not the reality of, where we are, but also, absorb what you're taking in there, but remembering where you are and where you come from.
Such a great conversation to be had. Do you send your child to an elite school? How do you keep them grounded, right? How do you keep them understanding that as hard as you have worked to get them there, they must carry on that baton and do something for themselves?
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Feedback with Baphelile Sambo. No doubt we're going to get lots of responses from Kabazela's question. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 072-702-1702. I'm really keen to know if you're a first-time, WhatsApper, if you're a long-time listener. I really want to hear from you because we get feedback from listeners all the time, Baphelile.
We do, Bongani, and we love hearing from 702 lenders. In fact, after our 7 a.m. interview with Gems, Dr. Stan Mulwabi and the PSA's Mlungi Singlovu, 702 lenders say the increase comes at a time when public servants, they're referring to themselves, are receiving far smaller salary adjustment. They're asking, why is GEMS proceeding with the increase despite guidance from the Council for Medical Schemes? And Bongani, following our interview with the Minister of Home Affairs, 702 lenders say they welcome the Minister's remarks, but they are saying, is this enough? Because he did say that disciplinary process will be taken against those implicated. But they're saying, is this enough, as we know that 20 officials have already been dismissed since last year?
Yeah, the difficulty, of course, is that some of these issues have been exposed before or similar, right? Similar. And so often the perpetrators get right back to work, and life moves on.
Bongani, we still have more good news. Remember, I don't know if you still remember, Tinashe that we played Whiz Quiz with in January.
Yeah.
So Tinashe scored a cool 900 rands. He got himself a 900 rands, and he said he wanted to use the money towards his dental journey.
Braces.
The braces guy. I'm going to call him a guy. So his mom, Lerato, sent us the sweetest update. On Saturday, Tinashe finally had his braces fitted and he was smiles and smiles all around. A big thank you to Dr. Moshao's team for coming through and making sure that Tinashe's dream came through. But he did send us a cool clip that he was narrating his experiences as a 2K. Is it a 2K? It was so nice, Bongani, so funny. I wanted the listeners to listen to it.
S702 Talk Radio, it's Tinashe. So on the 21st of February, it was a big day. I officially joined the Braces Club. First, we went to the orthodontist, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. My heart was going like boom, boom, boom. But I was also excited because I knew it was going to help my smile. Then I got to meet the doctor who chose to sponsor me through 702 Talk Radio, which is actually so cool. I felt famous for a second. After that, I had to take x-rays of my teeth. The doctor showed us my teeth and explained everything that's going on in there. Apparently, my teeth have their own plans, but not anymore. Next, they cleaned my teeth really well. My mouth felt extra fresh, like toothpaste commercial fresh, like you feel me? And then it was time, the braces were going on. I had to keep my mouth open for a long time, but my jaws were getting a workout. Gym for your mouth is real, guys. When they finally finished, I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, I have braces. I couldn't stop smiling.
Oh, that is just the coolest. It makes you want to cry, doesn't it?
I know.
Right? This is a kid who entered the Whiz Quiz. I asked him what he would do with the 10,000 rand, and he was going to get braces. He missed it by one. So he got 900 rand. And then a good Samaritan, a kind sponsor, Dr. Mashao, said, no, I'll take care of it. And so his mother, I posted this on my Instagram as well, on my Insta stories, this video. His mom sent it to me, and just what a lovely reaction. What a lovely story.
Oh, what a lovely story.
Eh?
And we can't wait to hear more.
What a lovely kid. Oh, couldn't have given it to a nicer kid. Well done, Tinashe, and thank you for that update. More of your reactions, more of your views after this Eyewitness News brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 rand.
This is EWN.
The number of soldiers deployed to fight crime in Gauteng has been revealed, and the ad hoc committee in Parliament prepares to question Brown Mokgotsi. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Gauteng has been allocated more than 450 soldiers to tackle the rising scourge of illegal mining and gangsterism in the province. Premier Panyaza Lesufi made this announcement during the State of the Province address last night. Earlier this month, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the deployment of the army to help police respond to gangsterism and illegal mining in Gauteng, the Western Cape, and now the Eastern Cape. The deployment came after more than 600 people from the Sporong informal settlements on the West Rand were chased away from their homes by illegal miners. Lesufi says the army has already been deployed to Sporong and other communities identified as hotspots for illegal mining.
The ongoing illegal mining affects the communities of West Rand, Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg, and Sedibeng district. Dangerous syndicates use high-caliber weapons such as AK-47 to conduct hostile takeovers of illegal mining sites in our province. Government wants to put stop to this terror, and we welcome the decisions taken by the President.
Police in KwaZulu-Natal say they have killed 2 cash-in-transit suspects. The deceased are accused of robbing a cash van in Verulam yesterday. Police say the suspects opened fire when officers confronted them at their hideouts in Edendale in Pietermaritzburg last night. Members of Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating police corruption allegations are concerned that one day might not be enough to question Northwest businessman Brown Mokgotsi. He will finally make his long-awaited appearance before the committee today to give evidence related to police interference and his links to Vusmuzi Kat Matlala and the disbanding of the Political Killings Task Team. The ad hoc committee confirmed Mokgotsi's appearance during its planning meeting yesterday and how much time it has to conclude its hearings. Babalon Denza reports. reports.
Unlike most material witnesses, Brown Mokgotsi is only set down to appear for one day before the committee breaks on Wednesday for the budget speech. ANC MP Kusela Sangoni-Digo expressed her concerns at only having one day for Mokgotsi, who seems just as involved and implicated like other key witnesses.
We did have a question on whether one day was enough for Mr. Brown Mokgotsi. I'm not sure, given that, other witnesses who seemed to be as involved as Mr. Mokgotsi were sometimes given more than a day.
Committee member David Skosana also questioned the time allocated.
Maybe, I've got the benefit of the doubt whether we need 2 days for.
Mokgotsi's evidence is expected to be followed by another appearance by forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan on Thursday. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber says active steps have already been taken against officials singled out in a visa corruption probe by the Special Investigating Unit. The anti-corruption agency revealed yesterday that one official even built a road to her house from the bribes paid to her by foreign nationals to illegally facilitate their stay in South Africa. Schreiber says contrary to what would be expected, the number of officials involved in the scam is relatively small. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
The Special Investigating Unit says the permit and visa racket it's uncovered within the Department of Home Affairs has cost the state around 185 million rand. 4 officials used the bank accounts of their spouses to extract bribes of around 16 million rand over a 10-year period from 2014. Minister Leon Schreiber says once all visa applications go through a new electronic system, which is already operational for tourist visas, it will limit corruption through human interaction.
Perhaps the single most extraordinary and important finding of the SIU's work, at least for me, is that the bulk of the malfeasance that we see presented here was allegedly committed by a very small handful of officials.
Schreiber says disciplinary processes against the implicated officials are ongoing. The department has also uncovered 2,000 fraudulent study visas issued by these syndicates, which are in the process of being cancelled. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And at least 13 remaining South Africans who were allegedly lured to fight in Russia are expected to come back home. It's understood that 4 men have already returned, as today marks the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine. Tens of thousands of lives have been lost since the Kremlin ordered troops into Ukraine on this day in 2022. The worldwide fallout of the war has been immense, with many European countries increasing their own defense spending in anticipation of a possible confrontation of their own with Russia. The South Africans who were allegedly lured to Russia under false promises and then forced to fight in the conflict have detailed harrowing stories of alleged ill treatment, including racism by Russian forces. The group claims to have been recruited under false pretenses, and much of the blame is being put at the door of Duduzile Zuma Sambula, MK Party MP, who's also the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma. And speaking on behalf of the families, Thulani Mahlangu told the Clement Maisela show on 702 yesterday that all the men are en route to South Africa.
Is that the information you got from our government, the presidency, DERCO?
The information we got it from DERCO. Today they are just preparing for the boarding things so that they can be able to board the flight tonight.
Gold is trading at $5,178.64 an ounce. The rand 16.03 to the dollar, 21.62 to the pound, 18.88 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $71.90 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays on the Mark 1 North, really a no-go zone this morning. Delays coming out of Xavier Street all the way towards Grayston Drive off-ramp. The M1 South is also backed up as a result. While traveling on the M2 West, do expect heavier traffic volumes between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Interchange.
And in your sport, Betway Premiership action continues tonight with Sundowns at AmaZulu. Chiefs host Stellenbosch. Man United beat Everton 1-0 to go fourth of the Premier League. And at the T20 Cricket World Cup today, Pakistan plays England. Yesterday, the West Indies beat Zimbabwe by 102 runs.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers. The temperatures will peak at highs between 23 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Gauteng has been allocated more than 450 soldiers to tackle the rising scourge of illegal mining and gangsterism in the province.
EWN In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Rafiq, a 40-year-old Outsurance client, knows all about saving on car insurance.
Outsurance, they're actually giving something back to you. Being with him, I've saved so much money. 899. That's not small change, it's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
An incredible 899 Rand monthly saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. 35-year-old Zanai saves 1,180 Rand a month on her 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus she'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Ready to get more out? SMS out to 45142. Enjoy benefits like panic assistance, which sends the nearest medical or armed response unit to you wherever you are. Get a quote now and see how much Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply. Your brain's a well-oiled machine. Now put it to work in the brain of 702. Enter on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Silver wings upon their chest. There's a man, South Africa's best. Remember the wings? All the men of the Green Berets. Remember that song? Oh, come on. 450 soldiers. Those are the men of the Green Berets coming to fight Zamazamas near you and dealing with gangsterism in Gauteng. That's what the Premier said last night, based of course on what the President promised a week or so ago. Does that deployment excite you? Does it make you feel that things are now going to be different? Did you watch the State of the Province address with the Premier yesterday? Did you care? Do you even believe it? And when you do, is all you can think about the Premier in a hotel, taking a shower?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Tinashe, my man. Smile your way through, player. Smile your way, player. Go ahead, man. Tinashe.
Oh, Bongani and team, what a lovely story. Shout out to the doctor who was very generous to assist the boy. Oh, I'm so emotional listening to that clip. Busie from Vereeniging. There are good people out there, guys. There are very, very good people out there. We might be in South Africa seeing all the corruption and all that, people being killed and all that, but there are good people out there. Have a lovely day, guys. Great show.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Kabazela's question is a really interesting one. How do you make sure that you are raising a dinashe, right? A well-grounded kid, particularly if yours is exposed to, say, elite schools where other kids come from really, really wealthy families. How do you keep yours grounded? You are sacrificing. I mean, I know I went to an elite school and I know that my mother sacrificed enormously to allow me to go there. And in fact, I didn't spend my entire schooling life at an elite school because that's just how much of a sacrifice it took, right? And I try to make it clear to my kids that they are in good schools because I'm sacrificing to keep them there. But they're not trust fund babies. How do you keep your kids grounded when all their friends come from enormous wealth? I'll give you two examples. And I've explained this particularly to my younger one. And I've explained to my daughter that, we don't live like your school friends there by St. Dundun, right? One of her friends had an entire wing that's hers in their home, right? As in, this kid has not only an ensuite bedroom, they have their own pajama lounge at their house. So outside of the kid's bedroom, there's a pajama lounge where she can watch TV. There's a games room, and it's all in one wing that's exclusively for the use of, I think at the time she was 13. And I said to my daughter, we don't live like that, right? I remember one example. Uber Eats had just come out as a thing, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably not even ordered from Uber Eats. I mean, that's how quickly, or that's how recent it was. Sleepover, friends come over, it's lovely. On a random Saturday afternoon, we're dishing lunch. One of the friends has come over to sleep over, and she looks at the food, and she goes, "No, I'll order Uber Eats. No, thank you." You can imagine my reaction. In fact, I'm not withholding the name of that child purely because I'm a good person. I think I blocked their name out because clearly that person was not going to come back to our house again. And I warned my daughter, I said, if you ever, right? How'd you keep your kids grounded, Amo?
I mean, you have to be realistic, Bongani. I remember watching an episode of, I think, Oprah Winfrey's, one of her master classes, sitting with Michelle Obama. At the time, she had just left the White House. And she said to Oprah Winfrey, I taught my kids to do their own bed while we were at the White House, because I'm not having a spoiled brat who's in varsity and they can't do a single thing for themselves. Because while me and Barack are, the president and the first lady, they are not. Right? They are simply enjoying those fruits because we have worked so hard.
Yeah. Your parents are the president and first lady. You're not.
I mean, I've spoken about the story before where my son has broken all of his bicycles. And to this day, his third bicycle is still broken, Bongani. We got to a point where we said, you know what, your sister's bicycle from age 2 is still fine. If you want to play with your friends with bicycles, take the pink bike.
Mateo?
I think for now it's just telling the truth. I mean, the rumor now has moved from obviously being in creche and going to grade 1, and he came back one day. He has normal school shoes. They wear tackies to school, right? So he's like, do I have Nikes? I'm like, well, I knew what that question was about. They probably had a discussion in the playground about whose shoes were best or whatever. Somebody was talking about Nikes, the brand, right? And he's never talked about brands before. I'm like, what do you think Nikes are? It's like, they are shoes. I'm like, no, you don't have those shoes. Do you like the shoes that you have? Yeah, I can run in them. I was like, we'll have the brand conversation later. It wasn't time for me to do it then.
The other one, of course, is in that clip, he discusses even career choices, right?
Sure.
Your kid is surrounded by trust fund babies, and they want to study the migratory patterns of the African dung beetle. They want a PhD in Elizabethan embroidery. I mean, those are ridiculous examples.
Yes.
But I promise you, somebody is studying the migratory patterns of the African dung
No, I mean,
beetle.
if you've got a whole fund that you're going to live off for years and you don't have financial pressures, yes, you have the luxury of doing such a course. But if you're somebody that's coming from... a family where you're probably the second.
No, it's my future. I'll study what I want.
Have a go
Can't
at
control me.
Have a go at it at your house. Not under my roof.
Pumzile, you're in Sunning Hill. Things you believed in for a long time and then had to let go.
Hi, morning. How are you?
Very good, Pumzile. Go ahead.
I'm good. I was always told by my grandma that I shouldn't count stars because if I count them, I'll be on myself at night. So
You shouldn't count stars.
Yes,
Now, you can't tell me you believed that into adulthood, Pumzile.
I did until I was in my 20s. I'm telling you, until I was in my 20s. And then one day I decided to count them. And then I told my sister that I did count the stars and I didn't review on myself. So when I tell my kids now, they always laugh at me. Mommy, no, you're not serious.
You know, there are scientists who study these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
People at NASA, they're by NASA.
Yes.
The South African Space Agency, we have one. No, I bet you, Pumzile, they don't wee-wee on themselves at night.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hi, Bongani and team. Thanks for a great show, as always. Muteo's question about the work-life balance. For me, I feel like the scale is always shifting. I can't really balance. I just have to go with the flow. So what I've done this year with my kids' needs changing, so I spend as much time as I can with them after work. And then when they go to sleep, that's when I focus on myself and my husband. So I do my own exercises around 9 p.m. because that's the time when they are all sleeping. And then I'll make their lunch boxes. I want to do almost everything that a working mom can possibly do with the little time that we have. So yeah, the scale keeps on shifting. Thanks, Bongani. It's Madge here in Alberton.
But I'm so happy Kabasela brought up this topic because we are in a predicament. We stay at a township. Our expenses are pretty low and we can afford like affluent schools. And yesterday we went for a tour and I was overwhelmed by small things like people's cars and the kids, how they conduct themselves. It was beautiful and worrying at the same time because you see some of them carrying these brands and you're like, or my son at some point asked me for this, which we can't afford. And yeah, I look forward to how parents navigate this because I'm like, this is also new for us. So I wonder how we're going to help our son navigate an experience that's new for us potentially.
Good morning, Bongani and listeners. Yo, guys. This is so hard hitting, and I just turned 40 last year, and to be honest with you, with my schooling background and everything and all the benefits I've had in my life, and not just about the accent and the fact that I know English and I'm confident. I mean, it was essentially a matter of I got assimilated into the English culture, for example. You know what I mean? So you have to assimilate. You have to see yourself being like them. That's how then you are comfortable. But I think my parents then should have just given me a wake-up call to say, look, we're breaking our backs to make sure that we put you there. So just make sure that you get the best out of it. Thanks.
Yeah, hey? And sometimes you've also got to learn. I mean, there were tours I didn't go to because I knew I was lucky just to be there. I wasn't now going to say, we're going to Italy, or there was a place called Ramsey's Gate, I think, in KZN. It was one of the big tour spots that people used to go to on holidays. Those summer camps. You just didn't even ask. And I can totally see the choice of a family deciding to, stay in their original family home in the township. And they make the choice to say, we won't buy a fancy house in the suburbs. We'd rather take that money and plow it into our kids' education. We'll stay in the township house, in the township neighborhood, but make sure our kids go to really great schools. Those kids must navigate that environment ever so carefully.
EWN Traffic.
22 after 8, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. Amo?
Well, Bongani, traveling on several routes just as you come out of the M1. If you're trying to navigate the traffic on the M1 this morning, we do have heavier traffic volumes along Jan Smuts Avenue, Oxford Road, as well as Corlett Drive. This is just people trying to avoid the backlog on the M1 North because the delays there are all the way from Xavier Street towards the Grayston Drive off-ramp. And then, of course, there's queuing traffic as well on the N3 North between the Geldenes interchange and the Gululis interchange. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Persia pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
News from elsewhere in the world. A very good morning to you, Adam. Gosh, what an awful anniversary. I can't believe it was 4 years ago that we first spoke about the Russia-Ukraine war.
Absolutely, this day, and it was
just about a couple of hours in, I think, when the tanks rolled across the border and Russian forces were heading towards the capital, Kiev, and they weren't very far away. And we thought, well, how long could Ukraine last? How long could they possibly repel Russian forces? And here we are, 4 years later. And yes, Russia has made some gains. Strangely enough, so has Ukraine, perhaps smaller gains. And we have Ukraine's president now telling us that Vladimir Putin has started what amounts to a third world war. It's only that Kiev is keeping it contained. It's an interesting take on Vladimir Putin's ambitions and the overall state of play. You can see why Volodymyr Zelensky would say that as well. But it's a slow, horrible, cold slog. A lot of it, as we've already talked about, some of the progress made is slower than First World War battles. President Zelensky says it is only a matter of time until Ukrainian forces retake all the territory currently occupied by Russia. There aren't a lot of people who would subscribe to that view, but European allies are generally very on side and supportive, and there are plenty of other allies around the world too. But the alliance with the United States remains the key one. And if the US backs away further, then that could be Ukraine lost. But at this stage, 4 years on, they just keep on churning through.
Intractable and protracted, right? That's the nature of war these days. Now, Adam, we in South Africa think we've got our own challenges with the rule of law. But my goodness, thank goodness, I suppose, we're not Mexico.
Yeah, the wave of violence there is now extraordinary. It is affecting a good slice of the country, where I think it's 20 of the Mexican states have seen violence erupt after, particularly there was a catalyst for this. It doesn't just happen, although of course there are drugs gangs and clashes with police and so forth. But it was the killing of El Mencho, as he was called, the leader of the feared Jalisco New Generation drug cartel. He was being arrested and basically got a bit botched, and violence then broke out and now has spread. So it's spread beyond the Pacific state of Jalisco. Although in Guadalajara, for instance, cars have been set on fire, blockades set up, police and army are struggling to take back control, and Guadalajara is one of the host cities of the World Cup, which isn't terribly far away. We've also seen Puerto Vallarta is no-go area now. That was very much on the tourist map. I remember eyeing it up as a holiday destination only a couple of years ago, thinking, oh, that looks great. But Puerto Vallarta is now, again, seemingly no-go, and any tourists in Mexico at all are being told stay indoors. We've seen 35 gang members killed, and I think it's about 30 or so National Guard troops killed, and no end in sight yet. They were suggesting that they put a lid on it yesterday, but the reports coming out of Mexico today are not good.
It's a real worry, Adam. Tell me about this American mystery. Mom vanishes without an explanation.
Yeah, like your worst nightmare. Lee McAllister. She went off to a church conference in Georgia. She lives in South Carolina, so not very far away, 200 or 300 kilometers or so. And she was due back on Valentine's Day from the church conference, but she did not show up. Her husband and others alerted the authorities, thinking, where is she? She was later spotted on CCTV at a supermarket. Then a long way from home, her car was found outside the Atlanta Braves baseball stadium. So that's again in the state of Georgia. And inside the car were her phone and wallet. Then suddenly she pitched up 8 days after disappearing at a hospital. But clearly she had no identification. She had no money. She had no means of moving around. How did she end up there? She's now 300 kilometers plus from home. No personal effects, seemingly no knowledge of what had happened to her. Did she bang her head? Was she abducted? Was there some sort of meeting that she had set up that went wrong? We don't know, but at this stage it's a bit of a mystery and is the subject of quite an investigation.
Well, we'll wait to see what Donald Trump says about the aliens, Adam. Maybe there's an explanation for you. We'll leave it there for today's Worldview.
EWN Traffic.
Quick traffic update brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now to save on your car insurance. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we do have heavy traffic volumes on the M1 North. This is between Xavier Street and Grayston Drive. Major accident scenes are causing these delays. We still have got that one right near the Culinary bends, so please be on the lookout there. And if you're thinking of using alternative routes, unfortunately, they're also backed up like Yamsmats Avenue as well as Oxford Street, so please be patient on the roads this morning. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
EWN Business.
All right, let's catch up with business news now. Muteo Kharipe, the industrial giant Super Group, posting strong results. This is good news.
Yeah, an early morning SENS announcement from Super Group announcing results. Its revenue increasing by 7% to 22.6 billion rand, up by 1 billion since 2024. A strong growth in the South African supply chain and dealership operations underpin the group's robust performance. Super Group operates in logistics and owns 66 car dealerships for brands like Audi, Toyota, and the Chery Group, amongst others. Operating profit increasing to 8.7% to 1 billion rand. A profit before tax also going up 25%. Cash generated from operating activities increasing by close to 40% at 710 million rand.
China, I see, keeping its interest rates unchanged. What are your indicators showing you?
Yeah, that growth number from China not looking as good, and that's what they've been battling with. The People's Bank of China held its 1-year and 5-year loan prime rates at 3% and 3.5% respectively. They missed the growth target of 5% last year as the GDP came in at 4.5%. On the markets, though, the rand at 16.03 against the US dollar at this moment, 18 rand 89 cents against the euro, and at 21 rand 63 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,181 an ounce, or platinum at $2,154. Brent crude at $71.93 a barrel. Stephen Grotus with more this afternoon.
Straight to the news desk we go. This education department in Mpumalanga has had all kinds of issues, hasn't it? Sfisa Zulu.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. Well, it's now turned out that investigations into a case of fraud have revealed that there was no need for a tender in question to be procured. 113 million rand was allocated for repairing and maintaining 21 schools in the province between 2018 and 2019. But most of that money was instead distributed through a series of uncovered tender schemes. The Hawks have arrested 36 people who are implicated in the crime, while 4 others are still at large. Some of the suspects appeared in the Nelspruit Magistrates Court yesterday. Nhlanhla Mabaso was there.
It's been 8 years since millions of rands were looted from the Department of Education in Mpumalanga under the disguise of repairing schools. All this allegedly by senior officials in the department, some of whom are still its employees. The money was laundered through companies of relatives of some of the officials who benefited millions in payouts. All the beneficiaries have since been arrested during a major takedown by the Hawks this past weekend. Despite the 113 million rand being allocated, the province's Hawks head, Major General Nico Geba, says nothing tangible was done in schools.
The service providers were handpicked and the supply chain processes were circumvented. In some instances, minor work was done. Some instances no work was done, and some instances there was no work needed to be done, but it was part and parcel of the process that was used to then generate this money and to divert it through a process of money laundering to the different individuals.
A total of 32 suspects will apply for bail in the Mbombela Magistrates Court this morning. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Mbombela.
The Special Investigating Unit says the religious fraternity is increasingly exploiting loopholes in the permanent residence system to gain entry into South Africa for foreign pastors and prophets. Its most recent probe into corruption at Home Affairs has confirmed that both Malawian fugitive prophet Shepherd Bushiri and Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotosho, who was let off the hook on human trafficking charges last year, illegally gained access to South Africa. Acting SIU head Leonard Ligeto says churches are helping to falsify documents and even lie about money to support pastors' applications for residency. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
The SIU says Shepherd Bushiri lied about his financial status to obtain a permanent residence permit. A chartered accountant signed off on his financial documents for a mere 500 rand. SIU head Leonard Ligeto says it's been confirmed that Bushiri's permanent residence permit was approved by a Home Affairs official who was also a member of his church.
Associated, drafted and submitted documentation while donations were rerouted into personal account under the guise of tithe or seed transaction.
Meanwhile, Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso's fraud dates back to 2000 when the South African High Commission in London first issued him with a work permit.
As his status was repeatedly questioned, his method evolved to exploit administrative and procedural vulnerability within the Department of Home Affairs.
He was deported last year after being acquitted in a protracted criminal trial during which he was imprisoned. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And China has acted against 40 Japanese companies and entities citing national security concerns. This is the latest escalation of a months-long fight that has seen tourism to Japan plummet. The two countries have been locked in a spat over comments by Japanese Prime Minister in November that Tokyo could intervene militarily in any attack of self-ruled Taiwan. In the latest move, Beijing's Commerce Ministry restricted exports to 20 Japanese entities, including Mitsubishi and the Japanese Space Agency, accusing them of helping to enhance Japan's military capabilities. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 23 and 24.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the M1 North between Xavier Street and Grayston Drive off-ramp. If you were traveling towards Parktown, also expect delays along Empire Road as well as Jan Smuts Avenue.
The top story this hour: investigations into a case of fraud at the Mpumalanga Education Department have revealed that there was no need for a tender in question to be procured.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What are your expectations from the Premier?
Well, we're not expecting very much, except more broken promises and more spinning. Panyaza is the master of spinning, and I think he will go down history as probably the worst, not because he hasn't been able to deliver, but because he spins quite a lot, and every year introduces something new that never gets to be dealt with. And now, this is why we got into a state where we actually then give the alternative before he then says things, so that we can get the conversation going.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702 Landers, we've got a special treat for you. Relebogile Mabotja is launching her second album, Still Me Live. And we're inviting you to join us. It's happening this Thursday, the 26th of February at 4:30 p.m. at Prime Media Place. This is 15 Fredman Drive in Sandown. If you'd love to secure a seat to this exclusive, intimate event with our very own, simply send an email to contact@702.co.za.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, HollywoodBet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. HollywoodBet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
When they say, let's align, you could book another Teams meeting or you could grab a spirit level and actually get things straight. Forget the corporate talk and join us from the 22nd of January to the 1st of March for the Chamberlain Back to Business promotion. Get amazing deals on everything you need to get going again, from paint mixing and power tools to hardware and building supplies. Plus, serious savings on sitewear for clothes that work as hard as you do. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
702 was in conversation with Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking, discussing the African Markets Conference 2026.
This is the second year we're hosting it in South Africa. It's an event we previously hosted internationally where, as you correctly put it, we bring together policymakers across the continent with allocators of capital which are based both in the continent and more interestingly globally. And that is really to do a couple of things. First is to connect them and the capital to some of the large infrastructure gaps that require large swathes of capital across the continent, but also equally for the regulators to hear directly from investors in terms of the environment that they require to be able to show confidence in allocating this capital.
Standard Bank CIB, host of the African Markets Conference 2026, engaging with leaders, turning ambition into investable action on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hey, Bongani and the team. Morning, guys. Nice shows as always. Greatly in Runback. With Muteo's question, it's very tough. It's very tough, guys. Work and life is not balancing. It's not balancing at all. Especially when you have got these work WhatsApps. On Sunday when you're relaxing, Papa, you get a WhatsApp. Hey, Brett, you need to do this and this tomorrow. Already you are stressing. No, it's not balancing.
Yeah, ne? Keep them coming. 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Bongs. Sam from Randburg here. So last July, I was diagnosed with autism, and it has explained a lot, especially when I say the most out-of-pocket things, and I don't even realize that I say them. But lately, I have realized, and I apologize, and I have to explain to people, sorry, it's my spectrum situation. I hope you guys have a great day. Cheers.
EWN Sport.
All right, Cindy Paluta, it's getting really tight in the Betway Premiership.
I love it. It's
Right?
so exciting. So tonight you've got two more games. Sundowns away at Amazulu. So a win for them, like by a healthy margin, would probably put them ahead of Pirates on goal difference, right? And then Kaizer Chiefs are hosting Stellenbosch, and a win for Kaizer Chiefs would put them up to third on the table. Here's Chiefs coach Khalil Ben Youssef.
We got time this week to prepare properly the game, to make a properly training session. And I think that the team is ready to continue to fight. About the game of tomorrow, I think it's the fourth game against Stellenbosch. We know the team, we know the quality of the team, we know the mentality of the team, we know the coach, we know also the idea and what's the positive thing and the negative thing for this team.
Man United beat Everton 1-0 to move top four of the Premier League. Sesko with the goal in the 71st minute. United boss Michael Carrick.
He's in a really good place, you know, and part of us is helping him take his steps in development and growing him as a player, you know, and his attitude to come on and do what he's done again. I thought he's finished just with so much confidence and belief and ruthless finish, which kind of sums up where he's at the minute, which is great to see.
In the Champions League second leg playoff tonight, runners-up Inter Milan have to overturn a 2-goal deficit against Bodo Glimt. Olympiacos trail Leverkusen by 2. Atletico Madrid against Bruges tied an aggregate. Newcastle with a comfortable 5-goal lead over Qarabağ. Benfica's Gianluigi Prestiani misses tomorrow night's second leg tie with Real Madrid. He's banned for 1 game after Vinicius Jr. reported racist abuse during last week's game. At the T20 Cricket World Cup today, Pakistan against England. Yesterday, Zimbabwe lost to the West Indies by 102 runs. The West Indies posted 254 for 6. That includes 19 sixes. Hetmeyer with 85, Powell hit 59. Zimbabwe head coach Justin Salmon says playing in India after Sri Lanka and the different venue was the major difference.
From a boundary size point of view, I think it's probably one of the biggest differences. I think a lot of those, you know, a couple of mishits will go for 6. They will be out in Sri Lanka. I think that's a big difference. Obviously, the ball comes onto the bat a lot better. So certainly, I think that's probably the biggest difference. And for Zim, you know, a lot of the cricket over the last couple of years has been played in Harare. And Harare is a really big ground. So again, it's good learning.
Stormers are hopeful Dion Fourie will make his long-awaited return from injury on Saturday against the Lions at Ellis Park. And in boxing, 11 years after their first meeting, greats Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather will fight each other again in September. Mayweather has come out of retirement 3 times now. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's catch up with the roads. Wrapping up the morning's traffic. Amuramila.
Well, Bongani, we still have got huge delays on the Mark 1 North between Xavier Street and Grayston Drive. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 South between the Baku Interchange and Athol Oaklands. While travelling in Sunny Hill, do expect heavier traffic volumes along the N1 North between Rivonia Road and the Baku Interchange. I'll have more traffic updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Paying your COJ account made easier with eJoburg. Hi, I'm Tebogo Moraka, the Chief Financial Officer at the City of Johannesburg. Remember, your city services are just a click away. With eJoburg, you can view, pay, and manage your municipal account anytime, anywhere, no more queues, no more lost bills. It's quick, it's safe, it's smart. Visit www.ejoburg.org.za to register today.
Calling all wedding planners and venues, restaurants, conference centers, and hotels. Do you need tables and chairs? Home in One has it all. Do you need cutlery, crockery, table linen, and restaurant equipment? Home in One has it all. Do you need tents, gazebos, or umbrellas? Home in One has it all. Affordable prices, the latest trends, with 2 branches in Pretoria and Johannesburg. Shop online at homein1.co.za. Because we're your number one choice. Home in One has it all.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Coming up on the Clement Manyatela Show this morning, Clement, you're at the Sandton Convention Center, I understand. What's going on there?
So we are live this morning from the Sandton Convention Center because it's the Meetings Africa 2025. This is basically an event, Bongani, that showcases the depth of Africa's expertise. So you've got lots of thought leaders here, you've got tourism experts, and they're all under one roof. And the whole idea is to unlock opportunities for Africa through quality connections. Hence, the business events products from across the continent that are showcasing their work at this conference. So what we're going to do throughout the show is bring in some of the key players here at the conference to speak to us. We're also going to bring you some insights and updates as well. But on the 702 open line, we're going to reflect on that Special Investigating Unit's interim report on the Department of Home Affairs. It's laid bare a shocking truth, and I don't know if it should be shocking to us anymore, about South Africa's immigration system, but also the corruption that exists in that system. We'll reflect on Colleen Makubele as well, leaving the MK party, and also on the testimony of Shadrach Sabia. But at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our World of Work feature, and today we're discussing how institutions of higher learning can prepare students for the workplace. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with our health and wellness feature. Today we're discussing congenital heart defects.
Clement Manyatela on your radio between 9 and 12.
New deals for the Checkers extravaganza are here. Save extra on top picks, like Cape Point frozen queen prawns 700 grams for 149.99. Save 90 Rand. Parmalat Everfresh Long Life Milk, a 1 litre 6-pack, any 2 for 189 Rand. Save 51 Rand. And Twin Saver 2-ply toilet rolls, 24 per pack for 159.99. Valid until 1 March, only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Different sounds, different worlds.
Different artistic expressions, music, art, and fashion collide. Are you coming? Let's go to the place where the beat drops, the fashion pops, and the art rocks.
We're talking Focalistic, Daliwonga, Mafigi Zolo, Kurt Darren, Maclara Doughboy, Zoe Mujija, Claire Johnston from Mango Groove, the Tswani Gospel Choir, and more. Mahindra Fusion Fest, Saturday 7th March, Sunbet Arena. Tickets on Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster now. See you there.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
When the brightest brains collide in the biggest general knowledge quiz in Gauteng, it's time for the Brain of 702.
Flex your brains, shall we? Your brilliance on display. Prove your mental might. 130,000 Rand in total prizes available. 1,500 Rand should you win this round. We're playing, of course, still with Kwabena. Kwabena, I hoped you'd still be around. You're still standing. How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
You're okay. Just okay,
Yeah.
he says. You're up against Jacob, who joins us now from Pimville. Jacob, have you played before?
No, this will be my first time, Bongani.
This is your first time. All right. We'll see if first time lucky will be what we say at the end of this round. You both know how it works. I have up to 15 questions. You must answer as many as you can correctly in 60 seconds. Kwabe, now you know the drill. Shall we go?
Yes.
Let's do this dance.
Yes.
KG, start the clock.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word joyride.
Joyride.
Correct. Which South African banknote shows a picture of elephants?
50.
20 Rand. Complete the Spider-Man motto. With great what comes great responsibility?
Pass.
Power. In which language does au revoir mean goodbye?
French.
Correct. True or false? In maths, two lines form angles when they cross.
Two lines form angles when they cross.
True
No.
or false?
True. For me, false.
It's true. In soccer, which PSL club is nicknamed Usutu?
Amazu.
Correct. Who's the current First Lady of the United States?
Melania Trump.
Correct. What is the chemical symbol for chromium?
CR.
Correct. In which country did feta cheese originate?
Yo, hello?
It's Greece. Greece is the answer we were looking for there. Rough round for you. Rough round for you. You get 5 correct answers. You never know. That can still be a competitive score. Jacob, 5 or better to stay in the game.
Yes.
All right, here we go. KG, start the clock.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word jealous.
Jealous.
Correct. Which South African banknote shows a picture of lions?
100 Rand note.
The 50 Rand note. Complete the Superman motto. Truth, what, and the American way?
Pass.
Justice. In which language is Auf Wiedersehen? In which language does Auf Wiedersehen mean goodbye?
German.
Correct. True or false? In maths, a reflex angle is less than 45 degrees.
True.
It's false. In football, which PSL club is nicknamed the Brazilians?
Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns.
Correct. Who's the current Vice President of the United States?
Pass.
J.D. Vance. What is the chemical symbol for calcium?
Pass.
Ca. In which country did Gorgonzola cheese originate?
Switzerland.
Italy. In which European city? Can't complete the question. Beginner's luck isn't always possible, Jacob. You walk away with 3 correct answers. 3 correct answers. Kwabena, that means even with those 5 points, you still walk away with 1,500 Rand.
Unbelievable.
You lucky fish, eh?
Yeah.
You lucky fish. You'll play again with John Polman this afternoon. If you win there, you'll win another 1,500 Rand. If you listen to all of that and you reckon you could do well, why don't you enter at primemediaplus.com? Answer our simple quiz and we could be calling you.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes before 8 o'clock. Now, on Friday, you'll remember we made a big deal about season 6 of MasterChef that started this past Sunday at 6 p.m. on ETV. We've got a little challenge going on. We're calling it the MasterChef Challenge. And the idea is to watch an episode of MasterChef because we all want to up our cooking game. We want you to try and reproduce a dish that you see from the show. Tag me on Instagram, and of course, if we like your dish, you will get an opportunity to meet some of the contestants or even the judges. The ideal, of course, is you get the person whose dish you made. And this was the first episode, and it was absolutely fascinating. I'm pleased to tell you I've got two of the contestants who were on the show this past weekend. Rejan and Chanel, a very good morning to you, and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Morning, Bongani.
How are you feeling after the competition, Rejan?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready for whatever comes my way next.
The theme, of course, was honoring your childhood and your heritage through a plate. Rejan, how tough was it?
Yes. If it wasn't tough, I wouldn't be sitting here with you now, Bongani. It was extremely tough. The first cook, I think, is probably going to be the toughest one because of the nerves and you don't know what to expect. So, yeah, it obviously stumbled me on the first hurdle.
Yeah. Chanel, how was it for you?
Yeah, so it was a very tough challenge.
Yeah.
When they said that we are cooking something for our heritage.
Yeah.
I am one of those South Africans where I'm a little bit of a mengelmoes. Everything goes. So, I mean, what is my heritage actually?
Rice, vlees and aardappels.
Apparently, but I think I spent too much time rehashing this in my mind.
Yeah. When did you feel like the wheels were coming off for you?
For me, it was honestly in those last 5 minutes. I thought I had everything under control.
Yeah.
But, and then in that last minute when they counted down the 10 seconds, it was just panic stations. Yeah, it was terrible.
How heartbreaking. It's one thing if you just didn't get to everything on time. But there it was. And it's just, you didn't have enough time to plate some of the food, but you made it.
I know. It is gut-wrenching. To be honest, when my name was called or not called, I could feel the blood draining from my face. I was completely gutted.
Yeah. Hey, Rejan, that steak.
Yes, I mean, at least
it looked really good
really nice,
on the outside.
Yes, but as like Chanel says, those last 3 minutes was complete chaos, and I just literally had to throw stuff on a plate. I'm glad there was a plate because I don't even remember that I had a plate. So it's just like, that'll do. Just wipe that one, gooi it on. And then while I was waiting, while the judges were talking, I didn't have a chance to even feel my steak. So I was standing there and I was pressing my finger on the steak. I was like, I'm out of here. I knew at that instant I was out.
Look, I've been to the set. I've seen the kitchen. I've seen where the produce is kept. I've seen the fridges. I've seen the appliances that they use. A little overwhelming, isn't it, Rejan?
Yes, it is overwhelming, especially if you've never cooked in that situation before. And of course, I was right at the back, and I probably had to go to the pantry about 4 times. And I don't know how many times I went to pots and pans. So that was half of my hour gone, just right there.
If you looking back now, because obviously this was filmed a little while ago, it wasn't quite live on Sunday. Looking back now, what would you have made knowing what you know now?
I would have made my steak because, I love my ribeye steak. I would have just kept it more simple. I would have probably not tried to be too braggy and do a béarnaise sauce. I may have done a nice simple salsa verde, which goes amazingly with steak.
With the steak, yeah.
And I would have still done my pommes puree and my asparagus because that just worked so well with the steak. I would have dropped the onion rings because that was an extra thing that I didn't have time for. And yeah, the salsa verde would have been done because it's quick and it's very tasty, and my steak would have, of course, been cooked to perfection.
I believe you.
So I would have had more time to give to that steak.
Yeah.
2 more minutes.
Chanel, what would you have done differently, knowing what you know now?
Listening to Rejan, hindsight is
2020
is
vision,
2020
right?
vision. You know what? I probably would take Zola's advice and just Frenched my lamb chops.
Yeah.
And also done them beautifully so that they can be medium rare in the middle and just presented luxurious carrot puree, which was very tasty apparently.
Do you still have a food dream, Chanel?
Yes, I do.
What's your food dream now?
I think it's probably evolved. I think I would take an approach where I want to mix all of my talents, which is food, it's art, crafts. I have a talent for buying and selling. So I would
Still lots of options for you, right? Rijan, do you have a food dream still?
Yes.
Just come a little closer to the mic. A healthy living cookbook.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, when you publish it, please pop by the studio. We'll want to have a look at it.
Oh, yes, I will.
Listen, I know it was disappointing because obviously you would have hoped to stay longer in the kitchen, but huge respect to both of you for entering and cooking. It's easy in your home kitchen. You know exactly where everything is, how it works, how your stove works, how your pots work, your appliances. Doing it in that MasterChef kitchen is a whole new level. Respect to you both, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much,
And good luck with your food journeys. We're going to keep that competition going. MasterChef is on ETV every Sunday at 6. We want you to try and replicate one of the dishes that the contestants have made. Please take some pics, put it on Instagram. It could be an Insta story. Just tag me so that we can choose which we think is best. And who knows, in the coming weeks, you'll get to meet some of the contestants or even the judges. As you've heard just now, they will be coming every week as they get eliminated. They'll come and say hi, and you might just meet them.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. It's 9 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Northwest businessman Bron Mokhotsi has arrived in Parliament where members of the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption are set to question him. Mokhotsi is expected to give evidence related to police interference and his links to alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Katmatlala and the disbanding of the political killings task team. The ad hoc committee confirmed Mokhotsi's appearance during its planning meeting yesterday, but members are concerned that today will not be enough for the process. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Unlike most material witnesses, Bron Mokhotsi is only set down to appear for one day before the committee breaks on Wednesday for the budget speech. ANC MP Kusela Sangoni Digo expressed her concerns at only having one day for Mokhotsi, who seems just as involved and implicated like other key witnesses.
We did have a question on whether one day was enough for Mr. Bron Mokhotsi. I'm not sure, given that, other witnesses who seemed to be as involved as Mr. Mokhotsi were sometimes given more than a day.
Committee member David Skosana also questioned the time allocated.
Maybe, I've got the benefit of the doubt whether we need 2 days for.
Mokhotsi's evidence is expected to be followed by another appearance by forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan on Thursday. Babalo Ndenza.
This month, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the deployment of the army to help police respond to gangsterism and illegal mining in Gauteng, the Western Cape, and now the Eastern Cape. The deployment came after more than 600 people from the Sporong informal settlements on the West Rand were chased away from their homes by illegal miners. Lesufi says the army has already been deployed to Sporong and other areas identified as hotspots for illegal mining.
The ongoing illegal mining affects the communities of Western, Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg, and Sedibeng district. Dangerous syndicates use high-caliber weapons such as AK-47 to conduct hostile takeovers of illegal mining sites in our province. Government wants to put stop to this terror, and we welcome the decisions taken by the President.
But some opposition parties believe the provincial government has run out of ideas to solve pressing issues. The EFF's Nkululeko Dunga says the party is not convinced by the solutions put forward.
In the establishment of this particular minority government, what did he decide to do? He decided to take the Department of Community Safety to be directly under his office as a premier. Now all of a sudden, He's a premier holding a strategic position of community safety, and the president of the country sees it befitting that he must then deploy the South African National Defence Force because of his incompetence.
Action SA Gauteng leader Funzingo Beni says the issues raised by the Premier in his SOPA were not new.
But we are of the view that many of the problems that he highlighted are problems that are not new, are issues that really were created by a bad governance that happened for many, many years. That is why we are dealing with informal settlement. That is why we are dealing with illicit trade of cigarettes. That is why we are dealing with illegal foreigners. All these issues didn't arise yesterday.
And Mexico has deployed 10,000 troops to quell clashes sparked by the killing of the country's most wanted